Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world, and welcome back to the finale of Season 4 of the WRC Creator Series. It all comes down to this, Kamikaze versus Eyes Amusing in our Creator Championships. As always, my name's Tom Knight, and we're here to take you through the next couple of hours of racing action, and alongside me, a very special guest joining from the world of Formula 1. It is Alex Heron, also known as Deathling10. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, mate. Yeah, we're here for the final of WRC. Of course, saving the best till last to bring me onto the broadcast. But no, on serious, yeah, obviously, as you know, I'm more of an F1 person, but I have seen some WRC. It has looked a lot of fun, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what these guys can do today.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one to get your eye into, because if you've never experienced the world of WRC, which I hadn't, more or less before we started doing this project back in the days of season 1, it's fascinating to see not only how far the broadcast has come, but how far some of our drivers have come. And as we've mentioned, the battle between the top two at the moment is almightily close. 4 points is all that separates Kamikaze and Eyes Amusing, both of them on the broadcast this evening, but only one of them with both feet remaining injury-free.
Yes, we should point that out. That I believe you did tell me, is it Kamikaze that only has one? Yeah, Kamikaze has broken his foot. And I believe from TK saying it's breaking foot. So yeah, so I don't know how they're going to break. It's going to be very interesting to see. 4 points separate them, as you said. But yeah, we've got a very interesting track. I said sorry, not track. It's a very interesting selection of stages. Is that the word for it? Let's say stages. Yeah. There you go. So I believe there's 12 stages, if I'm not mistaken, from what I looked. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. If you are just catching up with the calendar and catching up with where we head for our final round, we are at Rally Oceania, and it is going to be fantastic. 12 stages stand in front of our drivers. Most of them fairly short splits, most of them probably within 5 or 10 minutes. I don't think any of them head over 10 minutes, so it will be very fast-paced action. It will be very fast and flowing for our drivers to manoeuvre as well. And we have got drivers already on your screens. Punju and Aerotech making the first ventures out in the opening split stage. As Punju, well, of course, using the Group A cars this afternoon, he's chosen the Subaru Impreza 1995.
I mean, a good year and a very good car to race around this first stage. TK, I wanted to say, did you want to try and pronounce the first stage name?
See, that's a fun thing. I tried this back in probably season 1 or season 2, where I gave it a go. Yeah. And ever since then, I haven't given it an attempt. But we'll go for it for tonight. I reckon it's Brindawin. That's what I'm going to go.
I think Brindawin is probably the most accurate representation of it. I'm now trying to figure out my flags. I believe that's New Zealand.
It is, I believe, New Zealand for this afternoon. But we have got Punju getting set up and ready as the wildcard gets changed over on Twitch. The championship leader must break their foot. If anyone comes in here and isn't aware of what's going on,
they're going to be very confused.
Horrified.
Yes. But I'd like to come on here, TK. Punju will begin their first lap, their first round on the stage.
It will indeed. We'll see how they manage to put some fans in New Zealand. It's a rather short stage. Kick off 6.6 kilometres. I think we aren't we'll keep going through. 6.6 kilometres. Fortunately,
Tightens of the crest, 70. 3 left, don't cut. 30, 5 right, to 3 left, don't cut. Early 2 right. 3 left short, 80. Over bridge. To 3 left short, 5 right short, 30, 5 right, 160. Slowing. Caution bridge, early 2 left opens and 1 right, long.
I have no idea if we're live on the broadcast. If we're still live out on Twitch.
Hello, everyone.
5 left.
We are still
live.
Hello.
We are still live.
Apologies for that slight technical interference. Probably the conversation you heard between myself and Alex there. I have no idea what you can see on the screens at the moment. Apparently you didn't hear that, but we can see everything nice and fine, and we are back to beautiful racing action. Nothing too bad happened from that point of view, but from Discord point of view, everything went bad.
did not go bad, but we're now back on board with two cars here with Punju and Aerotech, of Aerotech in the Lancia Delta Integral, I'm going to say is what it's called. And they're both running through this stage right now. Obviously, Punju a little bit ahead because he started on his first one, but look how fast this stage is here, TK. Right on the edge of, well, nothingness, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's absolutely on the edge driving. I think a few of our drivers will have done their practice runs, done their preparations for this afternoon. Quite often, when you have cliffs on the left-hand side, you may be able to get away with it. However, at the speeds our drivers are doing, if you set foot off that cliff, go for, let's just say, a little bit of a jump off the edge, that car may become unrecoverable really quickly.
Yeah, it certainly will be. I mean, it's not a small drop, that's for sure, to go over the bridge here with Punju just threading the needle, as they say, as we bring on more screens with Ryan and Velmbar also driving from two different perspectives as well, which I like them all driving in the first person. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's something that we actually see a lot of in driving in. I think everybody apart from Vlembar on the broadcast this afternoon actually raced on a wheel. Vlembar is on a controller, and he is still one of the quickest in the club. I think he's actually P3 at the moment in our overall championship standings, and he is indeed. So it is almightly close between everybody at the moment, and yeah, fantastic to see, fantastic to do. And he is absolutely so quick and precise through all the twists and turns, albeit without the ability to use a wheel.
Yeah, and I think it proves that you don't need fancy equipment to be able to be quick and fast, because as we're proving here, the commentator's curse, I think, comes into effect there as he slams into the bridge and carries on his run. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Well, the commentator's curse is something that happens rather frequently, especially here in WRC. You saw just a quick flick through the cameras for Vlembar just to see what his car was doing. There's quite a lot of front-end damage. And now we see JPH making his way through all the twists and turns as well. And we'll keep you updated as how he manages to go through. At the moment, as you said, he's got that camera situated a little bit more forward. He's on the bonnet cam compared to a few of our other drivers who sit a little bit further back, maybe just adding in that element of realism.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how they all drive, because obviously people tend to drive differently in the F1 games as well. There is sometimes a determined view, they like to sit on the TV pod camera, but some people drive in first person. But I think with a rally game like this, where you kind of need to know like exactly how the car is feeling, exactly where you need to drive it, it's kind of important to know exactly what camera you're on. But Aerotech is looking good here on his run through the stage. Obviously making another right here. But the thing is, with this TK, I don't think we had to do this. There's so much information in the screen at once. I mean, you've got to concentrate so much as he comes up to the finish of the stage.
Yeah, what you'll notice about a few of the drivers, some will have the stage or the pace notes turned off. So they'll still hear them in their ear as they're progressing through the stage, but they won't come up necessarily as a visual cue, and that's what I think differentiates quite a few of the drivers. You can see Vlembar has them on. I'm sure we'll see potentially Kamikaze or Eyes Music with them turned off a little bit later. But one thing you said about being in first-person camera, we saw Kamikaze either the start of this season or the end of last season experimenting using VR in this, and he was still almightily quick, but actually didn't like that there was a little bit of almost delay between what he saw. Maybe it was just a bit of mental processing that almost felt slow in his head, so we went back to watching it on a screen with probably a better refresh rate than the VR headset.
Yeah, and I think the thing with VR as well, I think it's one of those things that it's still terrifying me, because they're very close to the edge. VR has become very good nowadays, where you're sort of like genuinely feeling like you're there. And the stuff like this, where you're like right on the edge of a circuit, terrifying indeed. As we've still got a couple of people finishing up the first stage here. And it's interesting to see they're all taking very slightly different lines, but you can tell they've all got a similar idea of where they need to, put on the power, put on the brakes, and make that corner.
Yeah, they certainly do. It's something you want to try and almost extract as much time out as you possibly can. Vlembar across the line, 3:42. That'll put him probably within the top 20 for the opening stage of this rally. We'll see a few other times starting to come thick and fast. Left, right, and centre. Commander Biz back on our broadcast after a long time away. Becky B joins us once again on the left-hand side. Both of them choosing separate cars, the Lancia Delta Integrale and the Subaru Impreza 95. I've completely messed up the name of that Lancia, but everybody can see it. And we're going to completely move past my bad pronunciations.
Yeah, don't worry, I already butchered it earlier when we were messing around with Discord, but we're all back now as, getting started with these stages. I mean, going across those bridges, TK, just watching on some of those onboards, they are terrifying to go across because they are incredibly tight. And I mean, I know you get told they're coming up, but still, I mean, we've already seen someone slam into the side of one.
We have. We will see probably more people slam into the side of them as well as we make our way through the rest of the rally. Because as you said, you get told about it. You have that command that comes in from your co-driver saying narrows up ahead or bridge up ahead. Sometimes it varies between the two of them. But even so, as you're flying through, what is this, 120 kilometers an hour, according to Becky B's screen, it comes at you quite literally in a flash. And I think Becky B is not far off making it to the end of the stage.
Yeah, almost finished with this first stage. And yeah, as you said, 120 kph. I mean, that's super fast, especially on a track that is, let's be honest, not the most grippy of surfaces. Obviously, these cars are meant to be used for this kind of track, but they will still kick it out if you make a mistake. I mean, it's very much a driver's sport is rally sport because it is so intense.
Certainly is. It's absolutely fascinating to see, and obviously I've been able to have the privilege to speak to a fair few of the drivers, if not every driver in the broadcast at some point over the last few seasons, and they all say it requires almost 100% focus as you go through each and every twist and turn. You don't get the opportunity like you do in circuit racing to take that break maybe down the long back straight, because even if you find yourself on a straight in rally, you've got to prepare for what's coming up, maybe 200-300 meters up ahead. But now entering the stage, entering the virtual arena, eyes amusing, the co-commentator that normally sits alongside myself, gunning for another championship chance, Alex.
He certainly is, as he begins the stage here. Obviously driving a different car to what we've seen so far this afternoon. So we'll see how this is going to affect his first stage run. Now this obviously TK on the new. It's one of those things where, the first stage, if you make a mistake and you lose, your time or you don't get as many points, is that going to be an issue, or is it one of those things where you need to score, well in every single stage?
It's something that is quite often discussed and quite often brought up, probably by me on the broadcast. But the way I've always looked at it is, you want to go for almost consistency rather than flat-out pace. One good stage isn't going to, blast you forward that much more. You might gain a couple of seconds. However, one but really bad stage is going to set you back by a couple of 10s or 20 seconds. You've got penalties coming in for resets or cutting corners, because if you are new to rally, and I'm sure there will be a few people in the chat that are, every now and then you'll see these red, almost stand-up posts that are on some of the corners. They're essentially track limits. If they came into a rally game, they determine the inside of the corner, and if you cut them, you will get a penalty for cutting the circuit. So it's not necessarily about having good or bad runs individually. You've got to look at that consistency over the course of the entire rally.
Consistency is key, and I mean, it always has been in any form of motorsport, but I believe, especially as you mentioned there, DK, it's something like rally sport where you need to you have so many different circuit. Well, I say circuits, but so many different stage layouts that you've got to deal with. It can be tricky to remember them all. Of course, you've got your man on board to tell you exactly what's going to be coming up, but that's still a lot of information to process at once to say, okay, right, that was that stage, this is this stage. I believe he's just coming to the end of, is this still stage, we're still on stage one? Yes.
Yeah, still stage one for Kamikaze, and this is how fast he wants to go through these stages. Quite often we'll see him sat at probably 90 to 95% pace. He will be absolutely throwing this car in, as we saw him almost do a reverse entry in towards that right-hander. But he knows he's gunning for a championship today. He only needs 4 points, which in theory he could pick up in the power stage alone, the final stage, stage 12, which has its own unique point scoring system. If you're the quickest over the final stage, you'll get an extra 5 bonus points in the creator standings. And I mean, he could just win it on that. He could have the most rubbish rally in the world. He could crash into every barrier, every tree, every river, and come back in that final stage and blast through and still win the championship.
He certainly could, but is it one of those things, TK? Obviously, he's worked so hard to try and win this championship so far this year, but if you say you think, okay, don't worry, I've got that last stage, and you have a terrible run through the first 11 stages, and you get to stage 12, and then it all falls apart in that stage. You got one attempt at that. At least in the 11 stages, you can be consistent over 11 stages.
Yeah, absolutely that. He'll have the opportunity to try and hold the consistency line, because you get a good amount of points for finishing in the broadcast. I mean, he doesn't even need to be top 3 over the course of our creators this evening. I think top 7 or top 6 will be enough to do it, because it's, for us in the creator standings, it's based on typical F1 point standings, so 25 down to 1 for the top 10. So he does just have to finish, I believe, P8 at the moment, and it is fantastic to see that he doesn't necessarily have to perform at his best. He just has to try and navigate his way through. But also, you've got to remember that he's driving with almost, I'm fairly sure, a broken foot.
I mean, it's impressive if he's doing that, because that still looked like a rapid time on this first stage. I think, was it 3:43, I want to say?
Yeah, 43, top 20.
I mean, that's top 20. I mean, for stage 1, again, you've just got to be consistent with it. And there is some of our times on the board. And this is so the top time we had in that session. TK, just point out for me just to make sure I'm not being an idiot.
So the quickest time was actually Isa Musing, who came P15.
Okay.
We then had Commander Biz just behind him in P16, Vlembar P18, and then Kamikaze P20 as the top 4 at the moment. JPH, who we'll see on the broadcast just a little bit later, he was in 26th. 34th was GJ. And we'll go through and try and find some other people. So Monkey Matt, of course, one of the people that loves rally. He's down in P42 after doing his run off broadcast earlier in the week. So it is fascinating to see quite a few of our drivers up within the top 50.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I wonder how much this is all going to pay off coming up into, obviously, our next stage. I believe is there still some people doing stage 1? No, we are jumping on stage 2, which is Doctor's Hill. I know how to pronounce that one. So, yeah,
Doctor's Hill, quite an easy one to pronounce, as I get the name wrong for something else. We saw briefly Quentin on our stream on the left-hand side as we see Vlembar just doing one of his runs. There we go. He's now appeared on the right-hand side of your screens. If you don't know who Quentin is, let me just run through some of the achievements this man has to his name. He was the world champion of Rallycross on Dirt Rally 2.0 in 2021. He was the IRX world champion in 2021. He was the iRacing off-road world champion in 2022. He was the iRacing off-road world championship 2023. He is formidable force within off-road racing and formidable force in WRC as well.
Well, he certainly does sound like he's got the resume. That's for sure. But yeah, he's going across on this stage 2. According to my website, this is stage 3, but I'm going to ignore that and say it's stage 2. I guess it's just a mistake. But he's hit the barrier there, TK.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of a clip, and you could see him shaking his head. He wasn't very happy with the twists and turns. But yeah, Doctor's Hill, I think that might have been someone either jumping ahead ever so slightly, or maybe an early DNF actually.
Yeah, Doctor Hill is 3. So this is something I'm going to butcher. It's a Tapahu.
Taiapua. I'm gonna.
That's probably a better
make my best assumption.
Yes.
But it is a very, very short stage. 2 minutes, roughly. Looking at the time, maybe not 2 minutes though for Quentin with a beautiful pirouette as he manages to recover the 360, albeit that car with a significant amount of damage on it.
Well, it's going to give him style points, but it's not going to give him any more lap time. That's for sure, because it's going to definitely slow him down. It looks stylish. But yeah, that is not what you want to be seeing. As you said, TK, I think you may have cursed him with the resume, mate.
I think it tends to happen on these broadcasts. It tends to be a thing. I don't quite know why it happens, but it's one of those things that commentators' curse quite often likes to crop up in these WRC ones. So we'll keep an eye on the rest as it goes through. At some point, I'm sure Quentin will have a ballet dancer or something added to his name as well. And we'll keep an eye as we progress through. I think Commander Biz just getting himself prepped and ready to head on to Doctor's Hill. This will be stage 3. You can see him just sat at the service there. So, of course, if you are new to at least the Creator Series, our drivers get a service every 2 runs, an opportunity to fix their car, change their setup, change the tyres if they so wish. And you can see Commander Biz just fixing some minor bodywork there. And yeah, they have an opportunity to almost mentally reset and go again. Much like a pit stop, but they have a little bit extra time.
Ooh, and Kamikaze just straight through the left-hand side there, but still going. here on stage 2. Looking good through that first split. They are right up against this wall and they're just hanging over it, to be honest with you.
They are absolutely sending it, and absolutely sending it they should be. Kamikaze looks so chill when he's when he's sending a car at 120 kph through the twists and turns of New Zealand. And I don't think I've ever been that chill in my life, let alone driving 100 kilometers an hour.
This is obviously side by side by our two championship contenders. TK, have you seen how close they are in terms of their actual driving? It's going to be, that was incredibly close on the sectors. 212. Wow.
It's nice that you get.
I think it was actually less than 100th between them. If I was trying to see that right, 212.7. I think it was 212.6 something. The Kamikaze had 666. So
yeah, I got
four
because I
hundredths of a second.
I went off
over
the road,
what was, I believe, 4.4 kilometers.
Like a fence there,
yeah.
So it was okay, but
insanely close.
Yeah, that's insanely close. Well, that's one of their two championship contenders, TK.
And one of them only has one usable leg at the moment, but I think we are going to get we're going to kick off the show with a nice and early interview. Let's pull someone in for a chat. I can't remember who we're getting in for a chat because Gareth mentioned someone. Let's get the commentator himself or the co-commentator, who at the moment is certainly trying to secure the championship away from Kamikaze.
Well, that's a little bit hopeful, I'd have to say. He's got a lot of points in the bag, and it looks like he's driving okay. He's got a little bit of an injury, so I'd have to say, being honest, he deserves it, and I'm not really sure if I even want to snatch it away from him in the circumstances that he's got right now.
I mean, if it gives you maybe some faith and some enthusiasm going forwards, you're a second and a half clear heading into the third stage. Who knows what can possibly happen?
It's a high-speed rally, and it's a rally where you have to take risks. So, there's very little margin for errors, and I'm just pushing flat out. I chose the Galant, which is possibly, I think a lot of people would say it's the slowest car of the bunch. And so I'm just having to send it, and it handles more like a soapbox than a car. And I'm not sure whether I love or hate it. At the moment, I'm loving it. We'll see. If I finish in a tree somewhere, I might hate it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we were just watching that last stage on stage 2, and I think, what was it, TK? The gap between the
400ths of a second between yourself and Kamikaze.
Yeah, you were basically just on the same piece of through that entire set stage, but it was fantastic to watch. So yeah, going on to stage 3 is Doctor's Hill coming up next. So you still confident you can maybe keep this going?
Yeah, the stages that we've done now are stages that I'm quite confident with. I've done them in quite a few clubs. Now we're going on to stages where my knowledge is a little bit less or a little bit recent. So where you're going to have to commit to the corners and all of that, it's going to be tricky, to say the least. This thing has a lot of understeer. I think it's all going to come down to who can not make the mistakes, basically, because as soon as you hit something, you're either off into the trees or off into a bank and you get a puncture. So realistically, this rally is going to be won by somebody that keeps it fast, but also keeps it more consistent, I think.
Amazing. Well, we'll wish you the best of luck with keeping it out of the bankings, out of the trees, and I'm sure we'll speak to you just a little bit later on as well.
Hopeful, but thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Isaac. We'll drag him back in with the other creators, and I'm sure we're not far off some people starting their runs. And of course, with stages being so tight and so close together, this is the part of the show where now we start to play the guessing game of what stage are people on. And much thanks to our producer in the background, we're on Doctor's Hill. People are still on stage 3, and this is looking about a 5.5 minute time to complete.
Yeah, this is 11 kilometers, so it's definitely a longer stage than what we were on previously, by quite some margin, actually. And obviously, as you say, TK, about a 5 minutes, if you reckon. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what it is. It's less about, less about the distance. It's more about just keeping it consistent, not making those mistakes. And Moose was very worried about the understeer car had. So we're going to keep it out for that on its next run, I think.
Yeah, I think we certainly will. It's a really obvious one, and in Formula 1, and I'm going to go back to circuit racing because I think that's where you and I quite often share a bit of expertise. You can notice understeer, especially as you head into the heavy or the faster braking zones, the car will drift out wide. Whereas when you come into rally and this sort of element, you've got not only the understeer to play with, but also the gravel and the dirt underneath will sometimes actually be influencing the car slightly more as well. And I did just notice an Aerotech screen there. Someone turned the lights on for about half a second, has immediately turned them back off.
Yeah, I was just going so tight through that bridge. I actually winced at how close he was to the edge of that barrier. I mean, he was so close indeed. Already just hit the 5 minutes there for Aerotech. As Ryan is also running the Lance here as well. You can compare the two Lances there, obviously same as rallying team as well. I do know some things about rally cars. Most of it comes from knowledge of TV shows, which I'm sure TK is fully aware of what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's looking good so far for our drivers on stage 3 on Doctor's Hill. Very interesting name. I wonder why it's called Doctor's Hill.
I'm sure we could probably Google it and figure it out later on in the broadcast. But as you said, yeah, it's a lot of your running knowledge probably comes from 3 blokes that have done quite a fair few TV shows over the last few years. But up towards the line is Ryan. Aerotech's not far off either. He's coming around the right-hander and will be running up towards the line as well. And we'll see where he can navigate his way to. We'll see where the splits stand at the moment and see where Ryan finds himself on our leaderboard. Aerotech will stand just behind him as well, at least on our track at the moment. Where is he going to be on the leaderboard? Little loading screen for you, and there we go. 20 or 30th place for Ryan, which will be probably not a bad result for himself. Now we have got the more important battle, but the battle that is about to line up. Either Musing and Kamikaze getting ready to run through Doctor's Hill.
Right. Sorry, I was just testing my microphone. I hope that's better now. Good, awesome. Just the old unplug and blow into technique I used there. But yeah, as you mentioned, TK, the 2 main championship contenders going at it here. Keep an eye on your left-hand side for that understeer as we go through Doctor's Hill. It's a much longer circuit. I wonder if they're going to stick to glue like they were last time on our last stage.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Of course, running at sunset at the moment, and I think a few of our drivers will have had slightly different techniques and tribulations as we head through. They've got 11 kilometers ahead of them. We won't do the rather unironic lights out and away we go, but Kamikaze has gone. A couple of seconds behind him will be Isa Bruising, and we're ready to get going for these 2 championship contenders.
Yeah, we certainly are, and they are absolutely flying through that first stage. Just watching Kamikaze there, that was just as he just pressed his foot flat to the floor, well, the foot that works, flat to the floor, and was just going up and over and continues to run. Lovely sunset view here. I'd get distracted by the views personally, but that's probably why I'm not in the rally car. As they go through this dirt section here, drifting to the left-hand side. Make sure to keep as much speed as you possibly can. And going down here once again, you can hear the gravel just hitting the underside of the car. TK, he is flying through this first part of the stage.
He almost certainly is, and without a break, I am understanding why he is flying through the circuit as well, through the stage as fast as he is. I mean, you know, if your foot's as bad as we've seen, I mean, he sent a photo of his foot a little bit earlier. There is purple swelling on his ankle at the moment, and you know he's done what he needs to do to be able to partake in this stage and in this series of rallies. However, just a little bit of a clip with the cliff and the crest on the right hand side. Won't be too race ending. Won't be too much to write home about. But obviously, with himself, he'll just put it behind him, keep going, keep that foot flat to the floor, and try and bring that Lancia home as quick as he possibly can.
It's amazing that he's obviously got this foot problem. He's hit the wall. He's hit the dirt patch there, and there was no change in his face. Stays exactly the same. That if that was me, I'd be angry, upset with myself that I just made a mistake. But no, he's carrying on. He is not making any sort of change in his face. Concentration right now that he's having to put on to keep his car at this speed and able to push through like he is.
Well, Kamikaze by name, Kamikaze by nature, especially in WRC. He will just absolutely send it through the stages, and his face is really hard one to judge. He'd probably be an excellent poker player if you look back in the days, because nothing will phase the emotion that stands on his face. He could have the most horrific crash with a barrier, and he'll go, meh, okay, let's keep going.
Oh, it's slowed down a little bit there. He's carrying so much speed into that corner, but he's kept it going across the bridge now, just narrowly avoiding the edges of the bridge. Oh, but he's hit that side. He's on 2 wheels through that corner.
He was 2 wheels on the right-hand side of the car, barely making contact with the ground in front of them. They start to descend down the hill on the other side, and this is where it could go wrong. They could increase their braking distance ever so slightly. The car will be carrying more speed through the twists and turns, but both of them at the moment giving it absolutely everything they've got. The bridges keep coming thick and fast as well, but neither of them at the moment seem to be making any major mistakes.
No major mistakes. According to the left-hand side, he's slightly ahead on his lap there. The is it Isban? Is how you say his name? I'm just trying to get used to names.
Either bruising.
Either bruising, that's the thing. Either bruising slightly ahead on his split there, but I think it's very, very nip and tuck between the two drivers. Kamikaze looks like now he's just flying in his. This guy, he's a jinxed my foot. I just read that. That was very funny indeed. But it's looking good so far, TK.
Yeah, well, that is the car that he is apparently driving. We don't question the broadcast in the back end here. We say what we see quite literally in every single sense of the word.
341 split for Kamikaze, 339 split for Isa Bruising. I mean, that is a little bit of a gap, TK, and I wonder where that's been found. But there's still a long way to go on this stage.
There is still a lot of time to be found. They've still got just over 2 minutes unless they're going to hit the fastest time in the club, and I think they are going to be just a hair's width apart between the two of them, interestingly enough. And it's one thing we've mentioned over the course of a few rallies here in the Crate Series. Kamikaze running with his headlights on, Eyes Amusing running with them off, hoping that they give him just that little bit of maybe optical advantage as he makes his way through the stages. Maybe he can see just that little bit better with them off.
Yeah, maybe with the mouse. Oh, it's a massive snap there for Isa Bruising as he came up to the bridge, TK. That was a huge snap. He held it just, but I think that was the understeer coming into play.
Yeah, I think it was right-hand side. Not sure what's going on. Well, I think he knows what's going on. I think he knows how his car is going to handle through the twists and turns. And at the moment, managing to keep that car in a straight line. Kamikaze on the right-hand side, still sending it with everything. He's got little clip of the cliff edge on the left-hand side, but somehow the car's still facing in the right direction still. No emotion shown on that man's face. He is locked in. He is focused. Ida Musing's got a smile. He's almost got a giggle going on. And I'm sure something might have almost gone wrong for him because he, well, let's just say the opposite of Kamikaze. You could tell exactly what happened by his face.
Yeah, I think he had a massive snap once again going through a sector time, but he did okay to hold it. He's actually looking up at the screen, probably wondering how close I am. Oh, it's a big... Oh, I think Kamikaze just held that one again. This is so close. This is so nip and tuck. These are two fantastic rally drivers putting it all on the line here. This is only stage 3. We've got so many more stages to go.
We certainly do. Kamikaze loves the side entry to a few of these corners. He will flick that car around. I guess if you haven't got a braking foot, let the car do the braking work for you. I think that's the philosophy that he might be going for at the moment. If the car's sideways, it can't accelerate, but it will decelerate probably just enough for the corner. 552 for Eyes Amusing, 555 for Kamikaze. The gap increasing up to Eyes Amusing, but don't forget, it's not who wins out between the two of them. It's how, essentially, Kamikaze just has to get more than 4 points, and he will secure the championship.
And that's the first bit of emotion I've seen on Kamikaze's face. Do you see that little head shake? And he realised that he was not as fast as he maybe should have been. And I hope that's not a mistake for him. But I mean, how draining is it for him anyway, with that injury?
Well, I think that's the question. He'll be asking the question that I think a lot of people at home will be hoping for an answer for. On stage 4 here with JPH, another nice easy one to pronounce, Oakley. And I think we are going to quickly go through more of them now as we can pronounce them. But JPH in the Lancia Delta, making his way through a little clip of the inside line there, the left-hand side of the car. But I don't think, again, it will be affecting him too much. He's rather locked in, he's rather focused. On the other hand, Ansa Falosis looks rather unsettled in the seat of that Subaru.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be finding the, well, not finding the actual pace that he would have wanted in that Subaru. I believe, are they on the same stage? Because it seems to be dark and night. I don't think they're on the same stage. I might be wrong. They are on the same stage, just one's got it a little bit darker. This is another longish stage. It's 11 kilometers long, so basically what we were on the previous stage. But I'm very interested to see exactly what as the wipers turn on for the Lancia Delta. It's a feature of the Lancia Delta.
Yeah, maybe just a wrong button pressed by JPH, but I think if memory serves me correctly, Oakley being the reverse of Doctor's Hill, I might be completely wrong in that, so don't quote me on anything. Normally we have eyes I'm using to turn round and tell me that's what it is, but I'm hearing in my ear that I've got that absolutely correct. Points for TK, once again on one of these rally broadcasts, and an excellent guess if I do say so myself.
Yeah, well, you definitely get points. You're ahead of me on the points of knowing rally facts, as I believe.
Tree! That's a Pelosis!
Closest to hit a tree, put it in reverse, and carried on in his Subaru Impreza. The Subaru Impreza fan club is not going to be happy that they've had their car into a tree, but he's carried back on like nothing ever happened, and he's hoping that moment wasn't caught on stream. Unfortunately for him, it was.
It was, and I'd love to know what the time difference there between me going, he doesn't look comfortable in that car, and then him hitting the tree. But I think it was less than 30 seconds, if memory serves me correctly. But he's still not looking stable. I wonder if that front end, maybe just a little bit wobbly for him. I think something's not quite set up right for the Subaru, because it almost feels like he's not got the correct wings, the correct suspension on that car. Because if you're looking maybe at a traditional F1 car, and we're going back to that kind of circuit racing analogy, the rear end seems snappy, the front end seems understeery. It's like a really weird balance on the Subaru.
Yeah, it did not seem right at all. I'm obviously, as I said, I'm no expert on rally cars, but that did not seem like it was going to go well. We do have another man jumping in for an interview, and it's Mr. Punju wants to come in.
Yes, indeed. Well, he's back after a long absence away, and welcome in, Punj. It's so good to see your face and hear your voice again. First of all, how have you been? How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. I missed you guys infinitely. I'm very happy to be back. It's been, yes, definitely a lot of it too long. But we're happy to be back here now, and yeah, we're crushing today, man. This is fun.
It certainly looked like a good kind of run through for yourself, and of course you've made it back to the season finale. That's always good. How are you feeling? You're about probably a quarter of the way through, just before a third of the way through. How are the times looking at the moment?
Time's looking good. I'm sitting in a pretty healthy spot, I think. Fun fact, I actually didn't even get home last night until like 2 a.m. I did a 26-hour drive for the 2 days prior, literally across the country to bring a car back home. So I'm like tired, but also like hyped up on adrenaline because it's the season finale. So honestly, I'm just kind of grinding through it and hoping that it goes well. And so far, it's looking pretty decent.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had we're on our fourth stage now. I don't know if you've started doing the full stage yet, or if you've just done the first three. But out of the first three stages, which has been your best stage so far?
Yeah, so I've actually been able to get through all the first four so far. So I'm in the first run group, and all of them have been really fun. The second and fourth stage are really fun because they share a similar, that ending bit is hilarious. The fourth stage, though, I did hit what I like to call Death Corner, which is a very misleading right 4, which really it's actually like a right 2. And if you go wide, which you always go wide, you will end up hitting a gate. And I did that. So it's good to see that I am still not learning from my old mistakes. I'm still doing all the same mistakes that I used to do when I first got this game.
Yeah, it seems like I think that's caught quite a few people out over the course. I think I've seen quite a few people in trees and gates, and I think we saw someone in a bridge earlier as well. So it is really testing a lot of our drivers this afternoon.
That sounds about right. Trees, gates, bridges, cliffs. Yeah, all the things that you could think of that could mess you up are here. And that's what Oceania is known for being super fun and super difficult.
Yeah, it's been a good one. Alex, have you got anything else to ask Punju whilst we've got him here in between stages?
I'm going to be cheeky and ask Punju, who's your bets on for the championship here?
Oh, Kamikaze is still going to nail it. He's got this one this time around, for sure. I think his lead is good enough. I think he's easily going to get 4 points out of today. I do not know if Isa is going to take the overall dub ski. I haven't looked at his time so far. I'm sure he's doing pretty well, but I don't think he's overall leading. Yeah, it looks like Vlembar is beating him right now, from what I'm seeing. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's still Kamikaze's to win.
Amazing. Well, we'll let you get back to your stages and your rallies, and I'm sure we'll speak to you a little bit later on as well, my friend.
Thank you so much. I just want to also real quick say thank you. We really have 603 entries already today, and it's only growing. So, thank you everybody for joining today. This is insane. I think it's going to be the most participated rally I've ever had. So, You guys are legends. Appreciate everybody in the community.
Amazing. Thank you, Punji. I'm sure we'll
Thank you,
chat to you
Punji.
later, bud.
Of course. See ya.
See ya. Always upbeat. And we're going to chat to him a little bit later on as well. But in the meantime, before we go rallying, we're going to get another interviewee in. Another relatively new face to the WRC Creator Series. Almost caught myself there. Let's get Becky B in for a bit of a chat and see how their rally's going. Becky, first of all, welcome back and welcome in. How's the rally been going for yourself? Times, I think you're in the top 10 overall, or at least in the top few.
Yeah, I think so. I'm thinking somewhere around there. Going pretty well, all things considered. This is not by no means my best rally, so pretty happy to have kept it clean. Knowing my history with some of these gravel rallies, I've been able to keep the damage at a minimum and keep myself on track for the most part. So I'm glad that at least that's happening. So.
And you've done I assume your first 4 stages, or have you just done the first 3 so far?
Done first 4. Just finished my 4th.
4. So out of all your stages you've done so far, which has been your best stage that you've
probably the
felt?
third one. The third one was the first, so the first of the long stages, I should say. Yeah. That one definitely feels the best. That's the one I did the most practice on because I really only practiced the long stages, and it was really only for an hour or two. So those definitely are the ones I feel the most comfortable on. So yeah, it's a little easier for me to get into the groove, and yeah, I think I had my smoothest run of all of them on that one. So.
Just looking ahead to, the rest of the stage, we've got kind of 6 or 8 more to go. Memory serves me correctly there. Mm-hmm. Quick mental maths. How are you looking forward to the rest of the runs and seeing to kind of finish it off in the latter stages?
Just kind of more of the same. Just got to try to keep it clean, keep it smooth. Because I know my pace is pretty solid, it seems like. So just need to keep it on track, keep the damage to a minimum, and I think I can come out with a good result.
Amazing stuff. Well, best of luck with the runs and with the rally, and I'm sure we'll chat to you a little bit later on as well. But
awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Becky. Well, 2 drivers looking very, very confident for their runs as well. Looking like a good run.
And Punji's put all his money on the man still keeping the man with 1 foot, as he's going to be known from now on, keeping his championship. But I think that's a fair bet considering how much of a lead he's got, and he's doing quite well this afternoon.
He is indeed. It's been a fantastic championship from Kamikaze. He's kept it consistent, and that's really what's paid off for him in the end. We saw Punji there just briefly on 2 wheels on the left-hand side as well. But yeah, Kamikaze has been consistent. He's been fast, and although he may not have topped every timing sheet or topped every event sheet, he's always been up there within the top few, and that's where the points have really come his way.
Yeah, and they certainly have, and they seem to be coming his way again. Obviously, as he said, he's not been the fastest so far on some of the stages we've done, but it's still loads of stages to go. And as you said, TK, stage 12 is the one where he could just win it outright without ever needing to be further up the overall.
Yeah, exactly that. He could probably sit back, relax, chill, and then put a load of pressure on himself in the power stage, but that's not the sort of man that Kamikaze is. He'll like to try and secure the job done and then maybe enjoy the power stage at the latter stages as well. But we are back to some very quick run-throughs now. Back to a short blast of short stages, 4, 6, 9, and then 2 are 2 almighty 18-kilometer stages. That's where drivers will be starting to fear for their safety a little bit.
And this is, of course, stage 5, which TK has readily announced himself that he wants to read out and try and pronounce.
Mariritu.
Mariritu. That's, you know what? I'd say that's pretty well done. This is only a 4.4 kilometer stage, so decent stage time. What, 2 minutes? 2 minute 30 time. But yeah, very much a short stage here. But as you mentioned, there is some long stages coming up. I was going to ask actually what he prefer a long or a shorter stage, but I mean the longer ones, I guess they're just more of a mentally draining.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. We've seen that time and time again with a few of our drivers. They prefer, some prefer the short stages, some prefer the long, because whilst, yes, they may be almost described as that long ingrained run, they almost get an opportunity to get themselves into the run, into the stage, and if they're in the flow, if they're in the correct kind of groove, shall we say, they actually tend to enjoy them a little bit more because they're in that zone.
We're back with Dunbar here. So we got a jump before the finish line, crosses it with a 2:09.5 for their stage 5 in the Subaru Legacy.
Does indeed. Top 9 time, I think, for Vlembar. They're top 7 in the standings, or at least over that stage standings. That will put him, if memory serves me correctly, up to P10 overall as things stand. We'll check in with a few of our other drivers. JPH down in P13. And of course, we're waiting for a few others to start and set their run times. And Cephalosis on the right-hand side. Phil 61, choosing the Ford Escort RS for this afternoon's runnings. And I think that's the first time we've seen the Ford out for any of our drivers.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that just yet, but just also looking at his setup, he's got the full American gloves on, and I believe he's not wearing shoes. He's wearing socks. I'm glad he's wearing socks. I've never seen someone drive with bare feet, and it does hurt. I have tried.
Yeah, I've seen people drive with bare feet. I haven't seen people do a pedal cam with no feet, so that's a rather fortunate one. But yeah, a lot of people prefer socks over shoes because you get a little bit more contact with the pedals. But I've also seen counter arguments that, especially if you drive day to day, you're used to the feel that shoes provide them as the feedback that you get as well. And it's interesting to see how they differentiate as well. Our producer has just reliably informed us that he drives with bare feet. And I'm not going to repeat the second part that he just said.
No, I mean, he's asked what the odds are on him lifting his pedals after driving with bare feet. So, I mean, if he wants to do that, we'll see. We'll update you on what happens. Yeah, sure.
We'll let chat decide.
Yeah, we'll let chat decide. Do a poll right now. We'll let chat decide. So the Ford Escort of Phil 61 is just going through the ending of stage 5 here. And TK, again, another sort of strange thing in F1. Of course, we have our night races and we have our day races. But do you think sort of like the changes to like dawn, having your headlights on, does it affect drivers in a different way? As we see Becky have an interesting end to their lap there.
Yeah, it's something that's been rather debated, and it almost goes back to personal preference at the end of the day, because some drivers like it because they get the extra visibility ever so slightly up the road. But other drivers don't, because you almost get your eyes more naturally adjusted to the darker standing in front of you. So some drivers prefer it, some don't, and it is a real mix of almost personal preference at the end of the day.
Yeah, certainly is. It seems to be. As Aero Technicity on stage 6. Yes, he is. He certainly is on stage 6. 6.6 kilometer stage, this one, in his Lancia Delta. So a little bit longer, sort of medium length stage here, TK. And he's going nicely through this sector. Only 40 seconds into the stage run. So we've joined him at the right time.
Yeah, we certainly do indeed, and we'll keep an eye at how he manages to twist and turn his way through, and it is going to be fascinating. Eric takes one of the drivers. He's got a lovely setup. He's got the proper shifter on his right-hand side. You can see him meddling around with it. I believe there's a proper H-pattern gearbox as well. But he's loving it. He's one of the drivers that will really just stick at it. He absolutely loves the rallies. And actually, I believe he's stepped into commentating once or twice here in the Create Series.
Very nice indeed. Now, TK, for the uninformed that may be listening in chat, or myself as being one of the uninformed, when it says 6 right or 6 left or 2 left, what does that mean?
So the numbers represent how tight the corners are, essentially. You go from 6 being almost a fast corner, so you have SR, you can see on Aerotech's screen at the moment, which is slight right. So basically saying there's a little bit of a bend, you don't really need to slow down for it. That goes all the way down to 1 right, which is basically like, you better brake, buddy, otherwise you're going off a cliff or hitting a tree or something else along the course. You then have square right, hairpins. I believe you've also got a load of other annotations. It basically tells the driver what to expect coming up in front of them.
Okay. I assumed it was for tight turns. I just wanted to double check that I wasn't being like, oh, it's like 4 right turns coming up. Which would have been a bit silly. But yeah, that makes more sense in my head. So yeah, well, thank you, TK, for informing every chat and me.
That's fine. I'll also go one further and say there's another number that often appears on the screen. It's below, so on this one, 6 right 170. That informs the driver how far away the corner is upcoming. I don't know, I believe it's in either feet or yards or something like that. based on how you set up your game and what metric units or imperial units you decide to use, but it's telling you just how far away the element is. So you've got a jump, and then the road narrows 40, and you can see a tight turn to the left, a medium corner to the left, is a 3 left. It just tells the driver what's upcoming. They can prioritize that, and in EA Sports WRC, you can also set them to simplified callouts as well. So it will just say tight, medium, or quick left, I believe, or shallow left. And you almost break it down into 3 instead of 6. So you get less accuracy, but you don't have to try and convert numbers to tightness in your head.
I think that's really helpful. People that obviously like me, who may actually give this game a go at some point, because watching it now does seem a lot of fun. Going across the bridge now, we're on 2cam plus game, are we not? It's such a fantastic broadcast view, as we can see Ryan there on the right-hand side. And going through this very tight section here on stage number 6. So we're already halfway through the stages now.
Yeah, we are indeed. I mean, when we get to the end of this stage, we'll be on the final run. But of course, we can't forget that 8 and 9 are those 2 mammoth 18-kilometer stages. That's what our drivers will have to endure. And then, fortunately, everything after that will feel rather short to them because it's just a short blast, I believe. It's I think you've got 9, 8, and 8 to go till the end. But Ryan's across the line, 3 minutes 48 on his time. Aerotech will be slightly behind that, 3:52 as well. And as soon as Aerotech has got himself prepped and ready, we're going to pull him in for a little bit of a chat as well.
Certainly will. We're going to get another interview with Aero. Obviously, we're going to do Ryan instead. We've changed our mind. Ryan is going to come in first. And Ryan, how are you doing, mate? How's that run? We just watched you on stage 6, and how are you feeling after that?
Very happy, actually. Gained 1.3 on my PB that I did earlier today, so I'm happy with that. Considering I've got no setup whatsoever for this rally, because it's a car I've never driven before, only driven WRC mainly, like, the modern cars, so it's a new car for me to try. It's a nice car, I have to say. The back end's very nice as well. I like to flick it with the handbrake, but yeah, happy. Don't want to count my chickens yet. I mean, I think I'm like P30 overall at the minute, or around that, so I'm happy with that. But knowing me, I'll probably jinx it, and I'll probably crash in the next 2 stages or whatever. So we'll take it. We'll take it for now, but we'll see how we get on. See how the others are getting on, of course.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic run through, and of course, final round of the season as well. We're at the end of season 4. I'm going to go for maybe a little bit of a look ahead or a little bit of a wish. What you may be hoping for to find in season 5 when Punji finally releases the calendar.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit late to the series. I only my debut was last week at Japan, so I mean, the full season next season I will be doing. Intrigued to see what he has got lined up for the calendar. As long as it's Finland's on there, it's one of my favourites rallies of all time. If that's on the calendar, I'll be very excited about that. I don't want to see Japan again after last week. With some issues I had on the rally, but whatever car it is, I mean, I'm up for the challenge. I love this series that you've got going here. That's why I'm coming back again for next year for a full season. And as I said to everyone that I've spoke to in the series, it's just for me, just having fun. I'm more into the prototype side of things of racing, like the iRacings, the F1s. So this is more of a side quest of having a bit of fun, enjoy myself. If I'm not fast, it's fine, but if I do well, it's great. But the most important factor for me, especially for next season, is to have even more fun than I am now. So that's the main goals next year. Have fun.
Amazing. That is probably the right way to look at it all as well. And it was a fantastic run so far. I mean, we've still got a few stages to go as well. And how are you hoping to maybe finish off today?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of hopeful of getting a good position from seeing the standings at the minute, but the next couple of stages from practice are not my strongest. We've had a lot of casualties in the crowd. I'll leave it at that. But I think I may take the next couple of stages very cautiously at some sectors of the stage and just make sure I'm within a gap of around 5 to 10 seconds of my rivals around me. But I mean, I'm after Air Attack. I think he's won based on the time so far. We're quite neck and neck. And Eli as well, because I would like to try and get ahead of him in the championship, based on position. So we'll see how we get on. But as I said, next two are going to probably be the more cautious stages for me, and then at the end, depending where I am, just going to go full on send and see where we get to.
Amazing stuff. Alex, have you got anything before we let Ryan back into the wilds of New Zealand?
No, I just want to say, yeah, it's been looking good for you so far. Of course, you obviously got stage 7 coming up, which is 9.2, but then you've got 2 back-to-back stages, which are both 18 kilometers long. I mean, that's going to be the most enduring part of this rally.
Yeah, I mean, I've only just looked now, so it's all about tire strats now. So I think I kind of made a bad mistake on the tires at the start of the first 2 stages, but I think I kind of know what I'm going to go for now. I may gamble on the last 2, depending on, or even the next pair of stages, but definitely this next one's going to be a bit conservative, so I'll go for the mediums, and then maybe the next 2 I may try and gamble with softs and then soft again at the end, but depending on positions of everyone around, I may change that decision. But bit of a spoiler for you on the broadcast of what my strat's going to be.
We don't mind a spoiler here and there, but well, best of luck for the next few runs. We look forward to seeing how the tyres pay off, and we look forward to chatting to you just a little bit later on as well.
No worries. Thank you both. I'll see you.
Thank you, Ryan. See you soon. Well, I think he's maybe just a little bit of shock and panic as he, well, let's just say got caught out by the tyre strategies and and the 18-kilometre stages. I think we are going to get JPH in for a chat next time around. And JPH, welcome in to the broadcast. Welcome in to the commentary box. Talk us through how the first half's gone for yourself.
Evening. No, it's been quite good, to be honest. The Delta's behaved itself so far for the first 6, but well, see how the rest goes, I think. But yeah, no, it's been quite good, quite fun. Oceania, really fun rally to do anyway, so it's been really, really good so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's been looked good from people we've been watching, and obviously watching yourself as well. Going on to stage 7 now, which is one of the, well, I was going to say one of the shorter ones, but it's still 9.2 kilometers long. How are you feeling for this one? Because, of course, coming up for stage 8 and 9, you've got 18 kilometers of rally to go.
Yeah, to be honest, I look forward to the longer ones. It's I find you can get into a rhythm for them, especially if you can get into an early rhythm. They're really, really good to run because the time you can make up can be quite substantial. But yeah, the longer stages, I absolutely love the longer stages on the game. I prefer them to a short blast, I must admit.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few drivers come left, right, and centre, and quite a few prefer the longer stage to the short. I know it's something that Alex was going to ask, I think, one of our guests a little bit earlier on as well. But is it just that you can get into that rhythm, or is it because the shorts maybe have that interruptions at every kind of so many kilometres that you just can't feel yourself getting into them that much?
But the shorter ones, you have to be on it absolutely from the start. I mean, not that you don't want to be not on it from the start, but the longer ones, you can sort of take the first sort of mile or so with a little bit more care, and then sort of build that rhythm in, and you then utilize the confidence you build through the stage. So, so sometimes the mentality can be different depending on what the size of the stage is, because ultimately the shorter stages, you won't gain a lot of time, but you can certainly lose a lot of it very, very quickly.
Awesome. Well, that I think answers my question on what drivers prefer on the things. But obviously, yeah, going on to stage 7 now. I'm sure you'll be getting started soon. Is it one you've practiced more, or is it one that you've sort of left to its own devices?
I'll be honest. I do a couple of stages. I don't really necessarily practice certain stages. I just pick ones that I know are good for testing on the setup. To which point I must say, obviously, I've been quite lucky this season with the setups with Snav. He's helped me with the setups this season. He's basically created base setups, which I've managed to tweak. So, he's been a massive help with the setups. But, most of the time I pick a couple of stages that are good to test various elements and then just go for it, really.
Amazing. Well, we look forward to seeing how you go in the long boy stages in the next few rounds. And as always, best of luck with them as well. I'm sure we chat to you just a little bit later on as well, mate.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, JPH. Well, I think he is looking forward to the longer stages as well.
Yeah, I believe he certainly is, and I'm looking forward to watching the longer stages as well. Because obviously, I've only really watched the shorter ones. I know, 8 kilometers is still quite a long circuit, but 18 is well, that's a mega circuit. Well, I keep saying circuit, mega stage. Sorry, I will get used to that. But yeah, I believe we still got one more
Four.
sort of medium stage to go in stage 7.
Yeah, we do indeed.
Car
9.2
insurance.
kilometers is kind of
Things
a
like that.
medium ballpark at the moment. So it feels like 9, well, it is going to be 9 kilometers, doesn't feel like a 9 kilometer. We're looking at about 4.5 minutes just because of how quick the cars are going at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, some of these cars are going very quickly indeed. I actually want to ask some drivers what their choice of car is, because I wonder if it's certain. Obviously, I imagine certain cars do better at certain stages, but I guess it's all about setup, really.
Yeah, setup comes into it, but we have seen quite often cars that do favour sort of one rally to the next. I mean, if you talk to Isaac Musing, I'm sure we will do later on at the end of the broadcast, he will quite often favour, let's just say, the meme car in the category. He's out there for absolutely squits and giggles, and he'll just go try and send the car as fast as he can. I think that's what he's done with the Galant tonight as well. Like, he's out there to win, as always, but he will pick kind of the funny car that he wants to try and run.
Well, I mean, it's been working for him. That's for sure. It's certainly been working for him. We haven't checked in on him in a while, but I'm sure we will coming into the next couple of stages. But Ryan and Aerotech here on our broadcast screen. These two, Ryan said he thinks he's very close to Aerotech Simon. Would love to jump him in the standings, I believe. Or, I know he was saying that to Punju, wasn't he? I believe.
Yeah, he was saying that about Punju and realistically both at the end of the day. So it'll be interesting to see how close they actually are in terms of times on the leaderboard. I'll try and find them in the next couple of moments whilst they're running their runs at the moment.
Yeah, and we got Kamikaze and Izamusing on screen as well. Of course, our 2 championship contenders that are on your screen right now. I believe they're both going through stage 7 here. And again, once again, just no real facial reactions as Izamusing just holding onto his card there. It looks like a bit of a handful, that Mitsubishi Galant, but it seems to be working well for him.
Yeah, it does, and I've actually managed to pull up the stage times. Ryan 633rd after stage 6, Punju 49th, Aerotech 52nd. So at the moment, he's got a considerable advantage over the 2 drivers he's wanting to beat out. But of course, it's a long rally. Lots can still happen, and I think that's what he's probably preparing for, just in case something does inevitably go wrong.
Yeah, certainly is, and I'm sure something will go wrong, and all that rear end of that car is just stepping out on Izamusi here. I'm surprised he can hold on to that on the gravel traps, but clearly he's driven it before. As you say, TK, he likes to drive this kind of car, maybe not to the liking of others, but he's making it work.
He certainly is indeed. I'm using one of those drivers that quite often when you mention his pace or his, let's just say his stature within the rallying world or the rally esports world. I mean, he's been up in the World Championship finals, I think 2 or 3 times from memory. He's one of those drivers that will be able to pull something out of the bag, and he enjoys doing these for fun because others will call it practice. He calls it a lovely casual drive out in New Zealand.
Casual drive in New Zealand, indeed. But New Zealand may yield a championship, but he obviously is going in with small hopes because he knows how close Kamikaze is to the championship. And you can see the smile on his face there. He's just having fun. It's all about fun at the end of the day. If you have fun, then that's all that matters for us here at WRC. But just going through the ending of stage 7, I believe. And Kamikaze, maybe a little bit of sweat coming down the brow there, or is that the hurt on his foot? I genuinely don't know.
It could be a bit of both. Ambient Mike's coming in chat, of course, a well-known name in the Creator Series, and who's done some runs off broadcast this season. We look forward to hopefully seeing him back on the broadcast in season 5. But they were saying, well, correcting, I believe yourself, saying it was a very politically correct of saying his car's Eisenmusing car is a boat. He's also then gone on to say Eisenmusing is a weapon, but he'd like to be humble about it. That means when Eisenmusing combined with his car that we're calling a boat, that means both of them together are a destroyer class, and they're here to destroy Kamikaze's championship hopes.
Well, I mean, that is a very good anecdote. I like that indeed. Well done, TK, and the man who put that in chat. But Eisenmusing is definitely using that to his advantage. I mean, it doesn't look like a boat when he's driving it. He seems to be. It looks like a rocket ship, to be perfectly honest with you. But yes, the championship leader, Kamikaze, the reigning champion, Eisenmusing, as you can see on your screens. But only a couple of areas left to go in stage 7 here before we head on to, as you mentioned, TK, the long 2 stages. Eisenmusing finishes stage 7 with a 4:44 and Kamikaze with a 4:48 there. So about 4 seconds the difference between those two drivers.
Yeah, GJ actually did a 4:44 as well on that stage, just down, finishing off stage 7. And I think a few other drivers probably rather close about it. Ambi and Mike was the quickest, I think, out of a few of our drivers. He's down in P12, 4:42. Blembar the quickest overall out of everybody in the broadcast so far, 4:37 to his name. Becky B, 4:37 as well. Those two were split by less than a tenth of a second. I think actually less than, it was about 14,000 of a second, something incredibly close between Blembar and Becky B on that stage alone.
And as we move on to, well, as we finish stage 7, we move on to the mammoth stage 8 here at Waiwira, as I'm going to pronounce it. I don't think that's too far off, to be honest with you, as Ryan has begun his first month of the stage.
Yeah, first outings, shall we say, through stage 8. Of course, first intrepid adventures in towards the 18-kilometre. Oh, that's a tree, though. That could be some hefty bodywork damage for his car.
And you don't want to get that early. This is 18 kilometres, and I mean, that's not taking him too long to put a big dent in that Lancia Delta. I mean, the resale value of it has just gone down the drain.
That's fine. They'll stick it in the local classified ads and just say one careful, considerate driver, and I'm sure it will sell for pretty much full retail price. But Punji's been very generous with our drivers this afternoon. Of course, the person that organises all the calendar, he's given them a service area between the two 18-kilometre stages. We've seen it time and time again where you have to do these back-to-back. You don't get the relief and don't get the opportunity to repair any damage or change your tyres, but this time around they've got a little bit of relief in it.
Yeah, and I think that will be nice for the drivers here. Maybe Punji being a bit generous because it's obviously our final round of WRC this year in the 4th season of WRC, and I'm very much looking forward to hopefully being on more broadcasts come season 5 because I'm thoroughly enjoying commentating these rally cars.
I've been telling people this in season 1 when I got invited by Gareth to come on the broadcast. It is probably the most fun I've had on a Monday evening in a very long while because it's chaos, it's carnage, but also it's probably some of the quickest WRC drivers that we see on a broadcast on Twitch because there is not a show like this that exists.
No, certainly not. And I mean, showcasing this skill as well, because obviously, you know, TK, I drive F1 as well, and obviously I've commentate a lot of F1. But this is a completely different skill set that you need for circuit racing. I mean, driving loose circuits like this is really not my wheelhouse. I mean, I'm very much willing to give it a go, but yeah, I like my grip on my circuits.
I think a few of our creators did back in season 1 when we had quite a few of the F1 creators on. They found quite often struggles and trials and tribulations with rally driving. And I'd love to see someone in, well, let's just say some of the F1 esports wannabes come and give it a shot in the rally scene because I think they'd be rather taken aback at how demanding, both physically and mentally, it can be. We've got Becky B and Ancephalosis on our screens at the moment, just getting ready to go for stage 8 is Ancephalosis. And of course, well, first intrepid adventures out for 18 kilometres as well.
Yeah, obviously 18 kilometres, just getting started here. And Becky B looking to start off well. And so is, oh God, I'm so sorry with names. How do you say it, TK?
Ancephalosis.
Ancephalosis. Thank you very much to our lovely producer. Ancephalosis. It was super impressive. The only person I've seen with the Subaru, TK, as I saw earlier on, it did not look the healthiest car going around a couple of corners.
Yeah, it's not been, let's just say, the most favourable of starts for Ancephalosis at the moment. But you never know, you've got the length and you've got the ability to try and claw that back. And again, something we've discussed on previous broadcasts is you don't want to try and overdrive the car now. If you have a bad start, you can't afford to try and run the car to its absolute extremes, to its absolute limits, because that is when the crashes start to creep in. That's the moments where things will go wrong because you're pushing higher than your skill level allows.
Yeah, and driving any car in any situation is never a good idea. And you want to just drive to the car's limits from ashore as we return to 2-cam plus game. As Aerotech is driving his Lancia Delta. Oh, as he has a big crash! And he's somehow, well, I was going to say held it together, but the car may not be holding it together much after that.
Yeah, I think there's certainly a bit of bonnet damage, boot damage there for us Brits. Trunk damage if you're one of the Americans watching on the stream as well. But hey, a boot flapping around may give a little bit of extra downforce. I'm no scientist, but I'm going to guess that that's probably what that does, albeit a minor distraction as you hear it slamming around in the background. But of course, you can see his right hand having to move to the gear shifter every single corner. Surely, compared to maybe a more formidable sequential gearbox or paddle shifts that a few of our drivers will end up using, that will obviously take a second mind away because you've got to get it into the right gear.
Yeah, I've tried to drive manual cars in real life, and I mean the concentration you need just to figure out which gear you need to be in while keeping your eyes on the road. And I mean, these guys are doing what, 120 kph while having to do that as well. I mean, that's impressive that he's managed to be able to keep it in the right gear and not have a massive accident. Albeit, he did have a massive accident when we zoomed in on him, but my point still stands.
It certainly does, and they will be able to recover from these. They will be able to try and pull through the twists and turns, but I think Aerotech now just has to settle in a little bit, focus up and try and regain the confidence that he's had over the opening few stages. As we said, he can't overdrive, doesn't want to afford to overdrive the car, and he just has to settle in, maybe take this as a bit of a net loss and push again once we are out in stage 9, has that damage repaired. But if I know anything about most of these drivers, they'll be wanting to absolutely set every single twist and turn.
Yeah, certainly so. And I mean, Aerotech there, 6 minutes 27 on the clock. And of course, Commander Biz only 3 minutes into their stage run here, so they've got a long way to go, does Commander Biz. And I believe, to be fair, Aerotech still has at least, I believe, 2 or 3 minutes left on their first 18-kilometer run.
Yeah, I think we're looking probably around the 9 minutes, over the 9 minutes, more realistically, probably towards the 9.5 minutes for a driver. So yeah, probably about 3 minutes, 2.5, and now approaching for the driver. I think it's all about concentration. It's all about that mental endurance for these long stages. Yes, the car will hold up unless you absolutely send it into a tree, but whether you have the ability to be able to hear and understand the pace notes after 9.5 minutes of full send racing, that is where I think we separate the pros from maybe the day drivers.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just hearing all those instructions as well, and you're thinking, sometimes your mind wanders and thinks, but you can't really wander on a rally circuit, because you wander for a second, you're going to end up in a tree, as you mentioned, TK. And now we turn to one of the drivers that is, of course, battling for the championship. GJ, who I don't think we've seen so far on the broadcast, but what a setup he's got, TK.
Yeah, we haven't seen him so far out this afternoon, but we have seen him now on the broadcast. And interesting to note that he's got three monitors, and obviously the camera we're seeing is actually his real-life gameplay. But he's got it set up so perfectly with a beautiful bit of kit that gives seamless transitions between the two edges. And it almost gives like he's in a real cockpit. I'm guessing that's exactly what it's designed to do.
Yeah, and I mean, that is quite incredible. I mean, the realism he's probably feeling right now is... if he had a VR headset as well, that would be...
I don't think he needs a VR headset. Oh, no, that's all the way to his left.
Yeah, I mean, he can see everything he would ever need to. And he's doing quite well so far. I'm glad we finally got to see what his setup looks like. And he's got I believe, what is that shifter he's got, TK? Sequential. Yeah. And that's probably a lot easier with it. But you can see he's keeping his eyes on the road, and he's very much pushing that car forward. I believe it's only about 3 minutes into his run. It's 5 minutes into his run. 5 minutes 51. So he's still got a little bit to go as well.
Yeah, I think he's about almost cresting that halfway mark as he crests the hill as well. He's got so much confidence going into these twists and turns as well. He almost looks very relaxed, very calm. He's very similar to Kamikaze in that effect. He won't have much expression on his face, whereas you've got Isa here, who's almost certainly talking to his chat whilst he's making his way through the course.
Once a commentator, always a commentator, as they say, TK. It never ends. It never ends indeed, as Kamikaze also is halfway through his run so far. 5 minutes 25 for his stage run, and is moving on 6:07. So they've still got about 3 minutes to go on this section. As they take out a stop sign there on the left hand side. The rally drivers care not for your stop signs.
They don't, but unfortunately the stop signs quite often care for the rally cars, as they sometimes will stop you in your tracks quite literally, as for some reason they, well, let's just say they've been rather cemented into the ground to an extent where they'll stop a car going 120 kph. But both of our drivers absolutely sending it through the hills. And apologies for the distortion on Kamikaze. They're heading through the wilderness area, the trees, once again disrupting our broadcast strength.
Yeah, it does occasionally happen. I mean, nature will always find a way. I was trying to do a Jeff Goldblum post, but it didn't work out very well. As we're still riding on board with both Izumuzing and Kamikaze. 6:59 is that split, just under the 7-minute mark. But you can see the smile on Izumuzing's face. You could tell how much he's enjoying driving this car around this stage right now.
I mean, he's practically drifting it into some of these corners. I mean, you've got Kamikaze that has it pretty much on the edge of every single limit. Izumuzing is just there, trying to throw it in, maybe drift the car around. Yes, he's quick at the same time, but as Ambient Mike said earlier, man is absolutely a weapon and far too humble for his own good. But it is taking the championship down to the last second. I mean, if you look at the points distribution, he hadn't necessarily had the best opening 2 rounds. He didn't even think he was in a championship fight coming into rounds 4 and rounds 5, and yet here we are, the final round of season 4, and we'll see as we progress our way through.
Yeah, we certainly will. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, Kamikaze doesn't really have to do a lot to win it, but he still has to win it. That is down to him. As a 7:58 is the split for Izumuzing. Keep an eye on Kamikaze to see what his split is like for stage 8 here. As we have still got about a minute left for their first, well, their runs of stage 8.
They do indeed. We'll keep an eye as they progress their way through, and I think if they manage to make it till the end, we'll see how they manage to do it on the reverse course, stage 9. They'll have the opportunity for a fresh set of tyres, maybe some repairs, but I don't think there have been any incidents between the two of these, as we have the very minute element of asphalt that our drivers have to contend with. And once again, back on towards gravel, over the bridge that only just looked wide enough for one of these rally cars on Kamikaze's screen.
Yeah, I mean, they are thin indeed, but we are going to be looking for an interview very shortly, as it could be Mr. Aerotech coming in, as he is now in to the core. And Aerotech, we're just watching your first run there of stage 8, and we did see yourself have a little bit of a crash into the wall. Crashed into the dirt. What happened there?
I'm really bummed, man. I put so much work into that stage yesterday in practice, knowing that if I wanted to beat Ancephalosys and get a good overall time, I needed to practice. Japan was, I left a lot of time on the board. I've had some top 20 times today on stages that I'm confident in. Just clipped a berm. It's so easy to make a mistake there, and I don't know why. I just kind of let the car track out to the left when I've never done that before. And clipped a berm, landed on my roof, and went, okay, the car's not damaged. And then that's when I hit a telephone pole upside down at probably 110 kilometers an hour. So the car is hurt. Luckily, I kept going and did the best back half of that stage that I've ever done. So we did some good damage control, but it just sucks that was a stage I was supposed to gain a ton of time on people, and now we're playing recovery again.
Yeah, I mean, the accidents have come thick and fast for yourself as well, but it's always about the recovery that makes it probably the more important factor as well. You've got the long 18-kilometer stage in reverse now going forward. Fortunately, the repair area has come pretty much bang on time. I think Punji's been rather gracious with that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really practice it as much in reverse, and a lot of these stages where I'm not comfortable, it's so easy to overdrive in this rally. There's a lot of 4 and 3 corners that if you take 5 kilometers an hour too fast, there is a huge debt to pay. Let's put it that way. So I've been kind of just driving the way I know how, and then pushing when I can. So this was supposed to be the stage where I lost time. But I don't want to hope that my rivals also have issues. But this is such a tricky rally. There's so many areas where you can make just a little mistake. Well, I mean, you guys saw it. Anywhere else, I think I would have went off the road a little bit and just pulled the car back on the road. But then I don't want to say ruined my whole rally, but definitely put a dent in my plans for the next handful of stages.
Yeah, it's sorry, I thought you were going to ask a question there, Alex. It
No,
looks like
sorry,
you had,
I was waiting for you to carry on the conversation. That's entirely on me.
It's okay. I don't want to talk to me either. It's fine.
That's okay. So yeah, going into obviously stage 9, as you were just chatting there, Aerotech, is a reverse of what you just did. But you were saying you had the best back half of stage 8, so you feel like you're going to have the best front half of stage 9 here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are totally different going the other way. I think the key here is to push when you're comfortable, and not try to overdrive. The surface is so loose. There's not a whole lot of grip out here. These cars are hard to drive, especially on power. In the Delta, if you flat foot it on the throttle coming out of the corner, it'll just understeer and go into a tree. So there's definitely some stages where I can make up some time. And considering I hit a wall or hit a tree or a pole, whatever I hit, did a front flip, got a 7-second penalty. I was still 89 to that stage. We still looking good overall, but I was hoping to gain way more time there. But there's still lots of rally left, and if we've learned anything from watching Colin McRae growing up, is you don't give up until the last stage.
Yeah, very true. Well, we wish you the best of luck with the final few runs for yourself. I have no doubt we'll chat to you a little bit later on as well. So thank you, Aerotech, for hopping in.
Appreciate it, man. Good luck, guys.
Appreciate it. Drop him back in there. Well, times have been coming thick and fast. We've got 18. Well, we've got another 18 stage to go for our drivers. I should readjust myself in my chair there. And I think I heard at the corner of my eye, we are going to get Kamikaze in for a bit of a chat. I think the first question we have to ask here: how's the foot?
It's a lot of pain, but we survive. Take some painkillers, and yep, we are where we are.
Yeah, I mean, we've been watching the runs. We were watching your stage 8 there, and I mean, on obviously an 18-kilometer circuit, plus you've got a very injured foot. But we're watching your camera, and you've not got any facial reaction at all to anything that goes. Like, you hit a wall, you don't change your face. Obviously, your foot's in a lot of pain. I mean, how are you keeping it so calm and so natural through here?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we just need to secure 4 points today. We tried to stick to middle of the road strategy. No overshooting, but I can't hold back. That's not my nature. So, but yeah, I start to get used to the right foot braking. Move the foot from gas to brake is not ideal, but yep, we just need to survive.
Sorry, I've got a chat. I've seen making me chuckle in the background. So, yeah, of course, you're in the championship battle with Item Using. You need to get 4 points. How are you feeling for the hopes? I mean, if we've learned anything from the season going on, you're almost going to secure the 4 points. You could get them in the power stage as well.
Yes, but I think I fight with Vlembar and Isa. I think they are equal into this round. So I need to watch out both of them. But we try to stay close to the fight, but not mixing up with it, because then I get too eager, maybe. So we just try to stay where we are, top 5, 4, 6, yeah, in the Creator Series standing. So we will see what we got to the end. If we can see we can push on the last one, for sure we're gonna do it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been looking good so far. You guys have been nip and tuck. You and obviously, it's been really cool to watch. I mean, I've not watched rally before, so watching you guys do this is awesome. And I mean, going into stage 9 now, reverse of basically what you just did, another 18 kilometers. Do you think you're going to be able to do what you've done on the last stage, or do you think it's going to be a very different feeling?
now we have service, fix the car. We had the same set of tires to last stage before we're gonna change. So now we're gonna go with worn tires. So maybe slow down a little bit and don't try to lose so much. But okay, we try to stick with the 30, 35 to 40 seconds behind the top guys. I think that's manageable. So we just getting safe through this one.
Amazing stuff. Well, we wish you the best of luck for the closing few stages as well, and best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you when you bring home the championship at the end of stage 12.
That's the goal. Thank you.
Amazing stuff. Thank you,
mate.
Kamikaze.
Cheers.
Well, I think we've seen a lot of chaos, a lot of carnage, not only from the racing, from the driving, but also from the chat as well. And well, I think it's almost time to go back to the chat, and not the chat, driving. Let's see who's going well at the moment. Commander Biz and Aeroset on your screens at the moment.
And I believe they have now started the reverse, which is stage 9.
They have indeed 18 kilometers going back the other way. And hopefully they'll have shared some memory of how they enjoyed it round the correct way. But of course, we've heard from drivers in the past who have said it's a little bit deceptive when they go for the reverse entries, for the reverse elements of these circuits, because they don't necessarily know or can't correlate a corner in their head as well as they would have thought. And especially over 18 kilometers, that's going to, well, really be a challenge for them.
Yeah, some people watching this, maybe more casual drivers, may think, "Oh, you're just driving the circuit in driving the stage in reverse." No, not really. It's a lot trickier than you think. I mean, if you've ever driven an F1 circuit in reverse, your braking points are completely different to where they are going the right way. So, I mean, these guys will have to get used to it very quickly, and it's still another enduring circuit indeed. But TK, just so people know, what is this stage called?
I have a feeling. Oh, you're setting me up for one here. Tahekora. Yeah.
Takahora. Well, I mean,
Takahora. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right. Yes. Well, you are, of course, Sir Tom Knight TK, as they've been calling you. So.
I mean, they've also asked how many subs to get TV to say the magic word. Jam 10 to me personally. There we go.
10 to TK personally.
Yeah, 10 to TK personally.
I don't even know what the magic word is.
Well, I can't say it because it kind of defeats the whole purpose, doesn't it? But we'll go back to our racing action. Punja at the moment, about 75% of the way through the twists and turns, and I think he's looking rather focused. He's looking chilled because you know when he's almost on edge because he leans forward in his seat ever so slightly. At the moment, he's sat back, he's calm, he's collected, and more importantly, he's relaxed. You might have lost Alex temporarily there, but Aerotech. I think I have a feeling I know where he's going to find, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Aerotech on the left-hand side, Punja as well. They're both focused, they're both calm, getting through as well. And Aerotech focusing up. He had, of course, that massive crash earlier on the manual H pattern gearbox. So I wonder if he's able to try and recover somewhat in this, in the reverse sensation.
Yeah, certainly is. I was looking for that thing, TK, and I can't find it. So, unfortunately, got it. I don't know where it's gone. Yeah, Punju there on the reverse section, 6 minutes 70. 6 minutes 70? 6 minutes, 7 minutes into their lap there. I don't know where I got 6 minutes 70 from. But they're almost done with their run of stage 9. And it is looking incredibly close in terms of laps. But the concentration on these guys' faces are incredible indeed. As Becky finds a tree, and you can tell by his reaction, he's not very happy.
No, not happy at all. A lovely bit of rhyming slang there. Becky B finds a tree. I'm sure that won't be repeated probably in later seasons as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is not what it was. Punju has also had a little bit of an error there as well, right to the end of his that's not good at all. On 7 minutes 43, couple more tight sections to go. That's a really tight right-hander. That seemed more like a 1 than it does a 2. But he's keeping it well here on stage 9. And as you say, TK, this is the last of their 18-kilometer stages. They just need to keep it nice and easy for the end here.
They do indeed. Unfortunately for Punji, someone won't be getting their post in the morning. He did royally take out the post box. But I think for his run, he won't be necessarily too concerned. Ryan on the left-hand side, making his way through just behind where Punju is on the twists and turns. So Punju, I think, will be first across the timing beam to finish off stage 9. And then we have a rather short run of form home, 8, 8 and 9 to finish us off over stages 10, 11 and 12. And I think drivers will be relieved to go back to the short burst stages. I think, well, at least for those that have encountered damage over the 218 kilometres.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a few of them that have got that damage. I mean, it's going to be the endurance of these cars, but going to be one with the car, as they say. And it's like you wouldn't want to take damage as Ryan goes into a telephone post on the left-hand side. I was about to say, you don't want to crash your car, because imagine what you would feel if you were the one taking that. Hopefully, these are the two that are getting the good lap times on the board. Good stage times ready, because they are the ones fighting for the championship.
It's fine. I've said lap times probably more often than not, and I mean, chat have definitely relieved me for it. They've not mentioned it at all, and we've not had it passed on over the course of many weeks. Kamikaze, of course, and Izumi both making their way through. Izumi, I think, slightly ahead over the stage of the course, and actually behind on time as well. So maybe on a bit of a better run. Obviously, don't take my word 100% for it. Might just be trying to compare two lines on a motorsport screen. We'll see how it goes, but at the moment, I think Izumi is just edging it out.
Yeah, just slowly edging it out here as I think they are. Yes, you mentioned they are slightly ahead with a tight left-hander there, as Kamikaze is in behind, but it seems to be a little bit behind, to be honest with you, and yeah, Izumi does appear to be edging it around the circuit here.
He does indeed, and he's working out at the moment just how fast he can go. And I thought for a moment his camera had frozen, because there was absolutely no expression on the man's eyes or the face as he went through the twists and turns. But actually, I had a look at I think I had a brief look and saw that it was indeed working. He's just that locked in and focused that he's prepared to go for it. He's locked in. He wants this championship as much as I don't think he will be humble enough to say that he's in with a shot for it. But I mean, when he's seen the stage times, when he's got himself prepped and ready, you've got to go for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, you certainly do. And I mean, it is very close, all the stage times, and we've still got two stages to go, and then obviously the power stage. But yeah, we're on stage 9 right now. Stage 10, 11 and 12 await our drivers, but they are still pushing their way through this 18-kilometer gigantic circuit. I said circuit again.
You did. Point-to-point race or point-to-point stage. That's probably the better way of doing it. But I'm sure we've all said circuit over the course of various GTA races. The co-driver has completely different roles in that one, as far as I'm aware, Gareth, but I don't think they'd want to add that to a WRC game. But Izumi and Kamikaze making their way downtown, walking fast, places fast, and I'm home down. I couldn't remember the lyrics for a moment. That could have been really awkward if we've got them halfway through the sentence. Yeah. But I mean, who's your early bets on here, Alex? Because if you look at how far they've got through the run, it looks like Izumi is going to be taking it by about 5 or 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think Izumi is quite far ahead, and I mean, unless any major mistakes appear on their lap, as you can see by his laugh, one almost did, but he kept it going, and I think they're going to get it by quite a margin, to be honest with you, TK.
I think they are. I think they're going to be close, but of course, as we make our way through, you've got to look at it from a perspective that Izumi, yes, he wants to win the overall event. I mean, Kamikaze only knows he has to win, or at least get 4 points from the championship. He doesn't have to top the times. He doesn't have to be top of the championship, and I think that's what he's realising.
Yeah, and that's what he needs. He doesn't need to win. Of course, he'd love to win. As he mentioned in his interview, it's not his type of thing to not push flat out, even with a broken foot. But right now, I think he's just taking it simple and easy. Izumi maybe pushing a little bit too hard there. as he's had a couple of taps with the wall, but he's still at least 3 or 4 seconds ahead of Kamikaze.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the case. We'll see the timing beam approaching rather shortly. I think they are probably meters apart on the actual surface down on the ground, and you can see Kamikaze coming up to the overboard marker that we saw Eisen Musing go through just mere moments ago. So Eisen Musing will definitely come across the timing beam first, unless he has any major accidents. And I think he will also top the timing sheets. I don't know whether he's going to top the timing sheets full stop. No, I think he's about 30 seconds off in some miracle. Mehu Jain managing to top that with 8.5, so 30 seconds quicker than Eisen Musing went on that run.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a majestical run, that one. I don't know how he managed to pull that one off. But there you go. Those two have finished their runs now. And these two, I believe, have started, if I'm not mistaken, is that stage 10 they've started on?
I believe you would be correct. That's certainly not stage 9 anymore, because you can see the shorter areas between the splits. So I'm going to assume we're back on a double-barreled one. And Alex, good luck.
It's Sakuro Orawa.
Sure. We'll roll with that. Stage 10, 8.5 kilometers, and looking around the 4.5 minute mark.
Yeah, and that is very much a different kind of feeling for the drivers. They've just come out of 2 grueling 18-kilometer circuits, and then get a very nice 8.5 kilometer circuit to circuit 8.5. Oh, that's gonna cost you a little bit of time there, Ryan. But he's driven it off like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, they certainly have. I think being reminded there that it's not a circuit, Alex.
Yes, it's a stage.
Ooh.
Bunju!
How has he saved that one, then? I thought for certain he was going to send that car into a barrel. I think he's got heavy damage on the car, but the fencing around the edge of the run managed to save him from a little bit more embarrassment. But I think that car has certainly got some damage to it. It looks rather on tilt, shall we say.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I mean, after such a long double stage, both 18 kilometers long, I mean, an 8.5 kilometer stage, they might be not as, locked in, maybe not as concentrating enough, and those kind of mistakes will start to creep in. We are 10 stages in to a 12-stage rally here.
Yeah, we are indeed. We're getting to that point of mental endurance to make the way through as well. And well, as Jam says in the chat, very lucky to not get away with the puncture, because it's not like circuit racing. It's not like F1 or F2 that we have on the weekends here on the channel. But you have to 9 times out of 10 you're going to have to stop and take a 90-second penalty to repair just one tyre.
Yeah, and that is not what any of these drivers want to do. I mean, 90 seconds, that's basically, well, it's a sentence of a death sentence of your rally time for that stage. So you'd be now be picking up one of those. But I imagine these drivers will be like, oh, is it already over when they cross the line? Because it's going to be very much done very quickly.
Yeah, I think it'll be one of those situations where obviously if we look back to last stage, they won't even have been halfway through if they were doing just an 8 kilometers like little sprint effectively. We've got 8.89 to finish off. We've got a service after this one before we head into stage 11, and then of course power stage being stage 12. We head to Noakes Hill for the final one, 9.5 kilometers, and of course 5 bonus points on offer for anyone that is quickest over the stage, over the power stage in the final.
And that's what you want. You want those 5 bonus points, as I believe. I'm going to say it right.
Encephalosis, or just call him Andrew. That's probably the easier
Andrew
way.
is probably easier. It's just started stage 10 as well, so they've just got underway in the Subaru Impreza.
Yeah, don't worry. I equally was mispronouncing his name so many times when I first joined, or when he first joined. Now it's probably one of those things that I've practiced enough. It kind of comes out as a bit of a second nature. Has he beached his car? He almost beached his car.
He almost, yeah. I mean, we haven't seen that yet. This Subaru has been very much misbehaving for Andrew here this afternoon.
Yeah, I don't know how he's managed to hold it. Oh, and again up on 2 wheels. Very, very lucky to survive that.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with that car. It does not seem to be working for him. But Aerotech is still going on his stage 10 run here. 4 minutes on the clock as they are firing their way through the couple of corners here. Not long to go on this stage. They hit one of the timing. I don't know what's that called? It's a gate, isn't it? Timing gate.
Timing gate.
Timing gate as they will be coming up to the end of their stage 10 run. It's so fast, that last section.
Yeah, absolutely fast, absolutely flowing, and of course you still have the dangers to the right-hand side. I mean, you can see the cliff edge here for Aerotech. If you just make a mispronunciation or maybe a misinput or you know a slight adjustment error, you're going off that cliff. You're barrel rolling down, and yes, you might get a reset penalty. In real life rally, that is probably the end of your rally.
Yep, and 4:43, I believe it was in the end for Aerotech there on stage 10. And I believe Ryan in the end, I think, ended up with a 6-minute time.
Yeah, I think we'll have a look at splits and times in just a brief second. Once again, our championship protagonists up on your screens. Both of them very, very similar points of the run. I think this time Kamikaze slightly ahead as things stand. Eyes Amusing just behind. But as always, I think at present just slightly below on time as well. So we could be looking rather equal in terms of splits.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see where these splits land. 2:23 on the right-hand side, 2:53 on the left-hand side for Kamikaze and Is Amusing equally. But it's very close once again, TK, as you said. They're looking for that 4-minute lap time, 4-minute run time here on stage 10.
Yeah, certainly are, and they'll be wanting to try and hold it as much as they possibly can. You can see the cars twisting, flying, jumping through the navigation elements of this. I think we also need a counter for how many times Alex has said circuit and laps, unless that was me saying it that time around. But the split's looking fairly equal. I think it was about a 3:26 for Kamikaze there. We'll wait and see what the split is for Eyes Amusing, but I have a feeling it'll be very similar.
Yeah, I think the splits are going to be close, almost too close to count as they were. Remember, all the way back to stage 2, TK, how close they were on that one. And this one, of course, is 8.5 kilometers compared to, I think, the 4.4 it was on stage 2. But Eyes Amusing coming towards the end of his session, but Kamikaze should end it first. He's right on the edge here, TK.
Yeah, just to keep you informed, the split time 1 second in favour of Eyes Amusing, and of course in the final split anything could go wrong. You can see how technical it is starting to become as we start to climb up the hill once again. That cliff on the left hand side may be beckoning one of our drivers' names.
Yeah, they do not want to be flying off of there because that could be game set and match the championship. They really need nice and clean and just drop the ending of the run because it could be really a big problem coming up.
Certainly could be. We'll keep an eye on how this develops. Fishbowl might count too. Kamikaze making his way up towards the final split time. The best run so far for stage 10 here, I believe, the one, if memory serves me correctly. 4:20, rather ironically, 27 seconds slower was Kamikaze. That puts him outside of the top 20. Where can Eyes Amusing place himself as we make our way through the twists and turns here? I think it'll be somewhere fairly similar.
Yeah, I think the gearbox usually, like for me,
Yeah,
feels
left-hand corner to go as let's see. But there we go. We switch back to Eyes Amusing as we're going to see what time they can do here. Cross it, and it will be a 4:46.4 there.
Wow, incredibly close between the two drivers. I think it was only about a second in it, all things considered. Oh no, they've added the command in chat.
That's not what I want to see.
I have a feeling this is going to go for generations now, because this will apply to any broadcast that I end up doing.
Yeah.
But let's get someone in for a quick chat. Let's get Ancephalosis in for a quick conversation, see how his runs have been going. First of all, welcome in. Congratulations on your first few runs. And from your perspective, how have they been going?
Ah, man, a little bit of a tough start. And you know what? I had like a realization, like a light bulb went off in the middle of today's rally. I was like, why is that always the case? Why I always have to say it's a tough start? And Calvetri in my chat made a very good point that tire choice will start to show up later. And I finally realized, oh my gosh, the reason that the first few stages seem so hard is because some people start with soft tires and then pay the price later. So did have a little bit of a mental breakthrough there, which made me feel a little bit better about my times. But it did still feel like a bit of a rough start. We were in like P200. It felt like the first two runs. And then we caught what felt like 4 or 5 P100s in a row. But now I think the last 2 or 3 stages, we've been like 50, 60-ish. I think we got a 70th finish. So it's definitely like up on the upswing, and I do think tire choice has something to do with that. Also track knowledge. These back half tracks or stages, I think, are the ones I have a bit more knowledge on. So we're on the upswing. We were having a battle with Arrow coming into today, but honestly, I think he's kind of trouncing me right now. I don't know the exact standings. I heard he might have had an oopsie, but I think he's kind of stomping me.
We just want to quickly ask about your the car choice this afternoon. You're the only one, I believe, running that car that we've seen on broadcast. And from what we've been watching, it looks like a little bit of a handful on certain gravel sections.
I mean, I was gonna choose the Subi from the get-go. If you've been watching me for a bit, you know we're definitely a Subi lover. I actually have my own Subi. I drive a WRX daily that I absolutely love. So there was really no choice for me. When there's a Subaru on the board, I'm gonna take it. I'd hate to blame the car for my performance, man. I could have practiced a bit more. Let's put it like that. We had a big chat in the group earlier about how we had our book of excuses ready. You almost have to as a sim racer. Maybe I can garner some empathy. My dog has an ear infection I've been dealing with all week. How could I have practiced, guys? No, yeah, he's doing okay. He's on the mend.
Well, glad to hear about your dog on the mend as well. And obviously, you're in the final sort of element of the rally now. 2 more stages to go, and of course, the more important power stage. Are you hoping for some points from the power stage as well?
Yeah, definitely hoping. So that brings up another good point in the battle between me and Aerotech. I think like only 1 point separates us or something. So there was a lot of hubbub around the overall, but I had to remind some people in my chat, you know, there's also points on the table for the power stage. So if one of us has an oopsie there, that could make or break all the difference, depending on how the other drivers do as well. So hoping to keep it together. We have a little damage here to repair, maybe a little decision tree to make, but yeah, hoping we can pull it together for the power stage and the stage before that.
Amazing stuff. Alex, have you got anything for Ancephalosis?
No, that's all I wanted to ask about the car. I was just curious about how it felt, but obviously it's never the car's fault.
That's right. Surely not a Subi's fault.
No, not at all. Well, best of luck for the final 2 runs, Adrian. We wish you well, some good points coming your way.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Nice chatting with y'all.
Thank you so much. We'll see you later.
Sounds good.
Well, I don't know if are we gonna get anyone else for an interview. Let's see. Well, doesn't sound like we're gonna go. We're gonna head though to our final 2 stages: stage 11 and stage 12. 8 kilometers, well, 8.6 kilometers, and then 9.5 kilometers to finish us off. I think we have got drivers already making a run through the twists and turns. And who are we catching up with? We're on with Aerotech and Ryan L83.
Yeah, we are now on to stage 11, as you said. Only 2 stages to go, and of course, stage 12 being the all-important power stage. Looking for a lap time around, I said it again, looking for a stage time around for the 4:20, 4:30 mark here, TK?
Yeah, probably around that sort of area. I mean, 4:30 would be a very good sector time or a split time for them. I mean, Mehu Jain, again, setting some phenomenal sector times, 4 minutes 13 through the twists and turns.
And of course, we are on stage 11, which is Makaroo.
It certainly is. It certainly is. I was glad you went for the pronunciation there, because I was umming and ahhing about which way to go.
Well, I'm always here to make a fool of myself. That's my job. But we've got 8.6 kilometers, and they are flying through this lap already. And I mean, Aerotech is been looking good. He's really recovered after that big accident he had in obviously stage 8, I believe.
Yeah, I think he's recovered well, and Alex is demanding a hello in chat. So hello, Alex. Now you can go back to your cruising and leave us to the rallying, because if you didn't know, and I'm sure F1 Alex has probably told you, he's going on a cruising Gran Canaria for a week.
Oh, well, it's nice for some, isn't it?
I know, right? He could have invited us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I thought it could be a nice commentary party, didn't it? He chose to go on his. Is he on his own?
I believe he's with his now fiance.
Oh, well, congratulations. You know what? I don't feel as bad.
I still think we should have crashed it. But speaking of crashes, let's go back to the rally action and see if anybody is going to crash.
Well, let's see. You now put the commentator's curse on it, so it's either going to be Ryan or Aerotech that puts it into a tree. I hope for their sake it's not. And it is going to be coming towards the line there. Aerotech with a 4:39. That's a very decent time there for that stage.
Yeah.
Oh,
fantastic.
Ryan!
There's the reset penalties. There's the reset penalties we've been talking about, and they can come thick and fast. Right as he comes up towards the line as well, I think he's going to be rather bitter, and you can see the shake of the head there. That almost confirms what we said could be happening.
Literally one corner to go. Any reset penalty. Okay, we learned who you commentated cursed on that one. It was Ryan. As Kamikaze a little bit ahead on his run here. 2 minutes 30 already, and is amusing. Has only just started stage 11 here. So this is obviously, as you say, TK, the regular set of stages before we head on to the power stage. So they want to put on a good session here for this one.
They want to put on a good session. Of course, the power stage does still count towards the overall time and the overall points, so it is a real balance up of, do you want to try and focus just on one run? But of course, that's the payoff that you really have to try and focus on. And you know, are you going to go for one power stage and pray and hope? Power stage, pray and hope. As we run through, but what you've also got to bear in mind is they'll have to have put new tyres on, or at least a set of tyres on at the last service. They've got to do over 8.6 kilometres on them before then going for the power stage. If you want to try and focus on that, you've got to take it almost somewhat relaxed and laid back in this stage to give tyres some life.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, obviously a bit earlier, we had people talking about tyres earlier, and I mean, I think the tyres have been very much an interesting thing to figure out what you need and what kind of setup is going to work for them. Kamikaze just coming towards the final stages of stage 11. He knows that he's only got 2 more laps. Well, 2 more. I said laps. 2 more stages, 2 more runs left in his WRC season 4, and it could be the 2 runs to give him the championship.
Certainly is. I think his chances at the moment are rather slim. I think Kamikaze is just doing enough as we make our way through the twists and turns. And of course, he only needs 4 points. That is only P8 in our drivers' standings, or our creator standings, probably more rhetorically. I think he is doing enough to try and hold on to that at the moment. But who knows? One last chance hurrah by a few drivers could put that in jeopardy.
It certainly could, as Kamikaze coming around to the final little bit of this run, as this will be the end of stage 11, as he does a 40.4. As we turn to I'm losing here, who's only 3 minutes 10 into their stage run of stage 11, but they are looking good.
They are, and they're always looking good when it comes to rally and this sort of environment. It's what they like to call home. That's the thing that you kind of have to try and pay attention to. This is putting a fish back in the fishbowl, because he's well aware of his surroundings. He knows what he's comfortable with. Putting Isa in a rally car, as we've seen both in-game and in real life when he got a chance to go to Goodwood, he was absolutely loving life.
Yeah, and I mean, that car looks like a handful, but it looks like he's just got it like under his control, under his power, and it is amazing to watch it drive around this circuit. This stage is looking very good indeed. Only a little bit left to go for stage 11. Couple of tight corners coming up, but he's making it work.
He is certainly making it work. He's got probably mere meters to make it up towards the timing beam to finish off this run, and then he'll have his eyes set on the power stage to finish it off. We've gone through 11 so far. I think the championship standing will certainly come down to this. It's almost like Abu Dhabi 2021 all over again. The chances the championship is so close together, and we go to one final run of events. And I think it's going to be fairly equal in times.
4:26. That's a cracking stage there.
That is a fantastic run time. I think it was 36 overall.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's look through the timing boards and see what we can see, because this is what we spend most of our time doing. Well, Quentin was actually the quickest, just bar Ambi and Mike in that stage alone. I'm trying to see where Kamikaze and everyone else came. Becky BP9 over that stage. Commander Biz P23. It's been very close amongst all of our creators. Aerotech 38th, so that's the top 40 rundown for you. Glenbard just down there P13, and we'll see if we can see where Kamikaze or Rise of Music came. It's probably showing on the screen right now, but I'm looking by the monitor.
It is, I think, yes.
It is somewhere. Well, Kamikaze's 25th overall. I can't see where Rise of Music is, maybe because it quite hasn't loaded yet. 11th, there we go. So the gap is increasing, but the question is going to be how many drivers are between the two of them. Because I think to keep any hope alive, I think Rise of Music almost needs to win this afternoon. And that's the 4 points is the bare minimum. Sorry, the bare maximum that Kamikaze needs to get.
And TK, this may be a sad thing to say, but this is the final stage. This is the power stage, and it's the final stage of Season 4.
It is. It's a sad goodbye to Season 4, but I'm sure we'll hear some information potentially about Season 5 coming up later on when we speak to Punju. And if we've seen anything from the first 4 seasons, well, Season 5, as tradition seems to go, will surely come in with a bit of a bang.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I'm sure Punji may have a little bit of information coming up later on. But we are on the final stage, which of course is Notes Hill, I'm going to say. 9.5 kilometers, and of course it's the power stage, as you mentioned, TK, 5 extra points up for grabs.
Yeah, 5 points that will be so crucial in the lower battles, of course. It is very close between a fair few of our creators. I mean, if you look at the ifs and outs and the lefts and the rights, it's going to be incredibly close for our drivers. I mean, Vlembar, Rising Music, Commander Biz, all very close together. I think there's 2 drivers that are split by just 1 point, all things considered. I think that is Ancephalosis and Aerotech. Ancephalosis pipping out over just 1 point. So even up and down the table, it's fantastically close.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's going to be very close indeed. We're looking for around, I think, about the 4-minute 40 mark around here, TK, maybe a bit higher.
Yeah, I think that's probably looking where we're running at the moment.
Yeah, and so Aerotech on what will be his final run of the season, and he's coming up towards the closing stages of stage 12. And here is the man who set this all up with his WRC. It is Punju, who is also on the closing stages of this in the Subaru Impreza. And I'm very interested to see what Punju can do on this final section.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on how he manages to navigate his way through. Of course, he's taken a rather long break from WRC. We haven't seen him around in a couple of weeks, but always nice to see him back. I know he was in Europe for a fair few weeks over the breaks and over this season, so it is nice to see him back. And I'm sure he will have some information on the data. As Mr. Tails come in chat, sweatiest factor 2024. Lembar has a daily play streak on WRC for 73 days.
Wow. Maybe he's just left it on.
That's almost as many days on WRC as Mr. Dale has DNFs in the F1 Career Series.
Wow. He's said it now, and as Punju crosses the final sector, it's a 4:56 there for Punju. That will be the end of his season with stage 12 completed. Eric also going to be coming up towards the ending of this, and it is a 4:55, and that is the end of his season as well. But here they are, TK, Kamikaze and Either Music. This will be their last stage runs of the year.
It will be. It will be their last stage runs of the year. Of course, everybody gets the holiday season off here in the Creator Series, and it'll be nice to see a few of them, I believe, in a couple of weeks when we go see have a bit of a catch up with everybody. But in terms of WRC, we don't see them again until January at the very earliest. But of course, Season 5 will be right around the corner. Of course, new teased expansions, I believe, from EA Sports that we haven't quite got release dates on for yet. They came with the WRC 24 update. We wait and see what happens. We restarted WRC in June. We absolutely better not. I'm not waiting 6 months for another one of these episodes.
Let's hope not, but you never know. You do never know, TK. That's Kamikaze just flying here. They know the championship is in sight. And what they need is just the 4 points. Are you correct, TK?
Yeah, 4 points for Kamikaze, and that will confirm the championship for himself. I mean, he's gone round, and we've gone to the wrong person. There we go, Kamikaze, who was facing the wrong way. That could have been interesting. That could have been fantastic. That could have been the championship-ending crash, but I think he's got it going in just enough time.
I think they certainly have, but they seem to be on the limit. I wonder how much punishment that car's gone through, but how much punishment his body's going through right now, TK?
Probably a lot of punishment left, right and centre, because who knows what we're going through.
Yeah, and Kamikaze is almost coming up towards the end of stage 12, and so is Isa Musing. And one of Isa has been told what's been happening, but Isa Musing's made the same mistake, and he's had a spin as well. And you can tell by his face that maybe any time that they could have made up, and any points they could have done, has come a cropper just now.
It certainly has come a crop. I think that's almost exactly the same point where they went for a little pirouette, and I wonder if, looking on the progression charts on the left-hand side, it's exactly where they went for a spin, almost identically.
That's amazing. Well, it proves they're both at the top of their game, but they both can still make mistakes, and they seem to be making mistakes at the same place as well. I wonder if Isa Musing knows at that moment, even though the chances were already very slim, the chances just became a lot slimmer.
Yeah, I think any hopes and dreams that he might potentially have had have just been shattered in an absolute instant. Kamikaze will almost certainly come home to claim the championship now. And Isa Musing off in towards a road sign. I think you can see the look of disappointment in his face, and maybe a little bit of a hope, look of giving up.
Yeah, well, you got to get it to the line, but that is a shame for Isa Musing because he pushed it in the 11 stages before, but of course it's over a whole season, and the man on your left-hand side of the screen has been he's been imperious, as they say, the whole season. Since the broken foot, he's about to pick up the championship win here in season 4.
Certainly is indeed. The reigning champion will be champion no more, almost certain of it now. Kamikaze meters away from becoming champion of Season 4. You can smell the finish line in sight. Comes across the little marker board to signify the end. There's the red flags, and that will almost certainly be the Season 4 championship going the way of Kamikaze. What a fantastic result for the EXR driver.
What you do?
Yeah, it certainly is. He knows he's champion, or I hope he knows anyway. Isa Musing, I'm sure knows he is no longer the reigning champion. And maybe that last stage was a little bit too much for him in the end, but we know how quick he is.
Yeah, somebody get that man the champagne, and he'll have to hop around, probably use it as a bit of a stool and what's the word for it? A stilt. We are going to get Kamikaze in for an interview. We'll see Isa Musing's run out in just a couple of moments' time. We'll see when he crosses the line, but we'll bring Kamikaze in. I'm almost certain of it. Champion here in Season 4 after a long-awaited victory. How must that feel for yourself?
I'm not sure yet. I need to see where I end up overall. I think if I'm top 8 on the Creator Series today, I'm winning by 1 point to Vlembar.
That is going to be incredibly close between yourself and Vlembar.
Yeah. So I'm happy. Oh, you don't know. Yeah, I think it's 1 point between Vlembar and me at the end. If I'm P8 today overall on the Creator Series, it's 1 point.
Wow.
And I screwed up on the power stage, so for sure no points there.
Vlembar had 98 points. He had more points than Isa Musing. Well, no, because he's done it by finishing points, but the calculations are a little bit whack of when he wrote it down on our screen. Yeah, but he would have been tied if he came second overall with no power stage points. That's the calculation that he's done. So yeah, could be close. We'll see how it runs. But Kamikaze, of course, we'll run you through the run. How did you feel like it went in Oceania today?
As expected, far from top guys, but as I said from the beginning, I expected that because of my injury, and we only need to get 4 points. So I hope we manage that, and I'm pretty happy of today's performance. I have so much pain right now, so I'm sweating and I have tears in my eyes, so you don't believe it. Yeah, I have no words.
We've just got our producer in the background doing all the calculations as well. But Alex, fire away some questions for
Yeah,
Kamikaze.
I mean, well, hopefully, we figured out exactly how close it is to winning. I'm sure you have one. I'm just Gareth is doing the calculations, but yeah, obviously that last run on stage 12 didn't go well. Gareth has
I don't think so. I
Don't
don't
think
think
so.
Monkey Mac's in the championship.
Nice. I'm happy. I'm relieved.
Well, I mean, if that's
I'm,
it, I hope we have. We'll work out, make sure that is true. But our producer says
100%.
he won, so we're going to say he won. Kamikaze is season 4 champion here for WRC. Even though the power stage, let's be honest, didn't go exactly the way you would have wanted, you've come away with the win. Now you can properly relax and maybe get some more treatment to your foot after you tell
yeah,
after
I
you tell
need
your
that.
doctor you did 12 stages of rally.
Yeah, I pushed the limits today of what I managed to do. So yeah, everybody in the lobby is so kind and kindful words and everything. So kudos to the great creator series and everyone take part of it. It's amazing community.
Yeah, just massive congratulations once again. And well, looking forward to season 5. Come and defend your championship. I think that's what a few drivers might be saying.
I hope so. I hope my leg. I hope we will start
Yeah.
season 5 end of January. My leg should be healed by then, and looking forward to more close battles with these amazing guys and creators and you guys as well and everyone. Please take part of this community. It's so fun.
Amazing. It certainly is. It's so enjoyable to race along. But Kamikaze, once again, congratulations on the championship. And I think we should probably let you go get some treatment on that
Yes.
foot before it gets too bad.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks so much.
Kamikaze.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Same, guys.
Wow.
That was more stressful than we thought because we were. Turns out we were looking at the wrong people to work out who was actually going to win that championship. But anyway, it doesn't matter. That is the championship leader. I don't know if we're going to get Punju in to maybe talk a little about season 5. I don't know if our producer can let us know.
Yeah, we'll get Punju in.
So we're going to drag Punju in. And Punju is in. We have a new champion crowned for season 4. But Punju, everyone in chat is asking, and we here are asking, what's the plan for season 5?
Oh, what's up, guys? Well, first and foremost, massive congrats to Kamikaze. Let's freaking go. What a beast. It's about dang time. Yeah, that's impressive. That I do not know how he did that on a broken foot, but he does it on a broken foot. So you know what? There's no excuses. That's the most deserving championship I think we've gotten all since the beginning of this thing. For next season, we've got some good stuff coming up. Obviously, we're gonna be taking a little bit of a holiday break, so we'll be having some time until 2025. But expect to have a lot of wacky combos that people enjoy. This season was by far our most participated season by like an insane country margin. So I just gotta say thanks to everybody for participating. And next season's gonna be even better. Everyone's gonna want to come back for even more rallying because it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's looking really well set up, and I think if the previous 4 seasons are anything to go by, and of course the new additions of the 24 season certainly provide some new challenges and some new dynamics as well, and who knows what might come in the future as well.
Yep. Yeah, I fully expect you guys to really enjoy some of the stuff that we're doing for next season. We'll have some more showcase events and just like a bunch more like really fun stuff to do next season. So yeah, get ready for some wild times in season 5.
Awesome. Thank you, Punju, and I hope that chat has answered your question. It certainly answered mine. But thank you, Punju, and we'll let you go now, mate. Enjoy your rest of your evening.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate y'all. You guys are legends. Thanks for commentating every single weekend. You guys are awesome, and I will see you guys later. And thanks again to all the community.
Thank you so much,
man.
buddy. We got Quentin in as well, I think, for a bit of a chat. Let's have a chat with Quentin. Let's pull him in, have a chat. First of all, welcome in to the broadcast, and well done on the runs for yourself. I was speaking to Alex Cocoms this afternoon about your let's just say your CV in off-road racing and your prestigious history. How did it go for you this afternoon?
Hi guys. Yeah, so first of all, the two first stage was quite complicated because I had to discover the car and I was not driving really well. I had a little crash, but then I was feeling better with the car, so I was able to push a little more. So yeah, it was a great rally overall, and for the moment I am in the top 10, so it would be really cool to finish with this car in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic run, and of course, how are you? I mean, I hope you're enjoying your time out in the Creator Series as well, mixing with a load of really cool people, and of course, they get to have a chat with yourself as well. And I think the question on a lot of people's tongues: are we going to see you back for season 5?
Yeah. I think definitely I'm going to do the full season 5. First, I want to do the season 4 full, but at the end I had too many races to finish, so it was too complicated. But now I have finished all my events, so I will take more time to do the full season with you guys, because it's always really fun. So yeah, definitely I will be in for the season 5.
Beautiful, Alex. Anything for content?
No, I just want to quickly ask. Obviously, TK went through your resume at the start, but when you're going through, obviously, I drive. I've driven karts in real life, and obviously driven F1 cars in game. What is there like? Do you feel like there's a bit of a like when you're jumping between different games and stuff? Is there always a little bit of a learning period before you get used to driving them properly or getting up to speed, or is there? Can you jump between them a lot easier than people might think?
Yeah. Currently, I'm jumping between three off-road games. So yeah, sometimes I need a little time to adapt myself to the game. But with the hours and experience, it don't take a lot of time, thankfully. But no, it's good. And yeah, I think also the real life race helped me also to adapt myself to different cars category and games.
Awesome. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, Quentin. Thank you so much for coming and racing, and we really look forward to seeing you out in season 5 as well. So massive thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
See you next time. Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't know if we're going to get anyone else for a chat, or if we're going to round up the season. Okay. That is it. We've got confirmation, ladies and gentlemen. Season 4, the book is well and truly closed. The story has been written. Kamikaze comes out on top. Alex, thank you so much for joining me in the box for the final round. I hope you enjoyed your first experience out in WRC.
Yeah, I certainly did. It was fantastic to commentate this. Obviously, it's a very different experience for me, but I'm trying to open up to different commentary opportunities. So I'm sure in season 5, if you guys want me back for more rally, I'll learn the difference between stage and circuit for next season as well. But yeah, season 5, I'm sure it's going to be amazing, considering how well season 1, 2, 4 has been. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to coming back at some point in the future.
Amazing stuff. Massive thanks to all the drivers that took part. I think there's about 20 people that took part over the course of the season. I'm going to quickly run through them because we have got time at the end. So Kamikaze, Eyes Amusing, Vlembar, Commander Biz, Ambient Mike, Becky B, GJ, JPH, Quentin, Ancephalosis, Aerotech, Phil61, Punju, Jam, Ryan, Test Will, Rift Blondie, Hayden Carpark, Gullis, Dark Viper GT, and for some reason myself on there as well, making it into the list of people that's run stages. But massive shout out to everybody that's taken part. Massive shout out to everybody that has been in this commentary box. I believe myself, Eyes Amusing, yourself, Alex. We've had Aerotech in the box. We've had Adam Reed in the box over the course of this season as well. And if I'm missing anybody, apologies on that. Massive shout out as well to our creative director, our broadcaster behind the stream, Gareth Allen, who does all the technical gubbins that he'd like to call it. And of course, Jam ONG, who stepped in last week whilst Gareth was having technical issues. If you want to check out all of the Create Series socials, they're just above our heads: YouTube, Instagram, X or Twitter, and TikTok as well. Alex, where can they check you out if they want to do so on social media?
You can find me on all socials at Deflink10. I stream on Twitch. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky as well. Instagram and TikTok and all that good stuff.
And for myself, I'm at They Call Me TK on pretty much every single social media. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on Friday and Saturday for the final round of the F2 and the F1 Create Series. And we'll see you sometime in the new year for everything else to return. But until then, good night, God bless, and have a fantastic Christmas.